All right. So welcome, everyone. This is a launch training to help you launch to elite and build your business. We're going to go through some business basics, and it's good to see your faces. We've got a lot of people with faces. We've got babies. We've got all kinds of things. This is fun. So everybody right now is muted except for myself and Faith. Faith is going to be helping to present and to talk today and share a little bit. So if you want to speak, we would love, not just want to, I want you to interact here. I want you to ask questions. I'd love to, we're going to do a little thing here at the beginning because we want to hear from you. We want to get to know you a little bit more. So what we're going to do first off, I'll just start by introducing myself because some of you have maybe heard me on a phone call. You've maybe heard Faith on a phone call, on a Monday night team training call, but you haven't seen our faces. So I'm Jenni Oates, and there's Faith. She can wave so you know who Faith is. Yep. Faith Hill, and then each one of you are going to get an opportunity to also introduce yourselves as well. But Nathan and I think Nathan's logging in a second. You'll probably see him come through in a second. Our internet's not the best where we're at. We're in a great neighborhood with really horrible internet. So hopefully he'll be able to join in and you'll be able to see his face too. But Nathan and I founded Team Elev8 just 8 months ago. So back in September 1st, we launched Team Elev8, but we have actually been in the network marketing industry now for almost 8 years. August will be 8 years. We started with a different company, and at about the end of our 7-year mark, after lots of prayer and a lot of just soul searching, we had kind of hit the top of where we were. We had a growing business that was an awesome momentum, but we were really honestly frustrated with where we were for a lot of various reasons, and there was a lot more that was in our hearts and things that we believed, honestly, we believed God wanted us to build and to do, and we needed the resources to be able to do that, and we needed the right vehicle to be able to do that. So the vehicle that we'd been in up to that point was the right vehicle for us. We learned a lot, we grew a lot, we were so grateful for everything that we took from that season of our life, but the chapter turned for us and a new story, and doTERRA is a part of that story. And we've just been extremely grateful to be a part of this company. This company has incredible leadership, and we've been able to come in, and we hit diamond in 30 days, and we hit blue diamond. I don't even know what we hit. 6 months, 4 months, 5 months? I don't even know. I don't remember. But pretty quickly we hit blue diamond, and it's just been an incredible ride with some amazing leaders. We have the best team in the company. So we brag on you guys all the time. Each and every one of you is a part of just a phenomenal team and really a phenomenal movement. And we named this team Elevate because it's about elevating each other. It's about lifting each other up. And the number 8, if any of you know much about numbers, Faith shaking her head. She's a numbers girl. She's got all kinds of cool number stories. If you ever get her on a trip out to Utah or one of our conference trips, you can hear some of her really cool God stories with numbers. But the number 8 means new beginnings. And so for us, this was all about a new beginning. This was all about something that was going to be really cool, that was being birthed. And every single person that we talked to about joining this adventure with us was kind of in this season of new beginnings and something new being birthed in them. And I'll preface it to say, because maybe you're in a new beginning right now. Maybe being on this call for you is a brand new start. Like you have just started your business, or maybe you've been in this for a month or two or a few months and you feel like you got a slow start, or you've missed some pieces and there's some gaps there for you. Whatever it is, wherever you're at, we're excited for you because this is a new beginning for you. And if you've launched your business 3 times and this is a relaunch again, then welcome to a new beginning. And we have been really excited to see how so many people that have kind of jumped in with us with this new beginning have just seen some incredible things. We have one of the fastest growing teams in the company. And I say that to also say you don't have to grow fast. It's just the nature of we do have that available if that's something that you're interested in learning how to do. We have some incredible leaders, even on this call right now. Tina Fuster is one of our frontline leaders as well. And down in the bottom corner, I can see her face there in her kitchen. But we have some amazing, phenomenal leaders. So thank you, first off, for every single one of you who have just trusted whoever talked to you about doTERRA, whoever introduced this opportunity to you and this incredible product. Thank you for trusting them enough to say yes. Thank you for trusting our team to be able to lead you and to coach you and support you in this journey. So that is what today is all about, is we are here to support you. We're here to show you some things that maybe we've learned along the way. We're maybe a little bit further down the road than you are, but we're still learning. That's the nature of this business, is we are all learning and growing together. We get to sharpen each other. I learn something new every day. So we're all in that process together. So hopefully you had the opportunity to download some things. But before we jump into any of the launch stuff, I just want to first say, last little thing here, the reason Nathan and I really honestly made this big transition, as I mentioned, was because we wanted a vehicle to support the dream that we felt like was in our heart, and we needed the resources to do that. But one of our big passions is time. It's giving people back time. We're very passionate about helping couples that want to work together. We tend to work a lot more, 90% with the female first, and then the man joins later as he sees, wow, wife, this really works, and it does pay money. So as we go, that's something that we have been a part of over the years, is really being able to support and see how men get to come on board more so. And I'm in a unique scenario where my husband's actually doing this with me full time, and so we've got an awesome male support here. If you need that support here to hop on the phone for any of your calls, then that's great as well. But giving back time, helping people spend more time doing what they love to do, time with their family, that is what we're passionate about doing. That's why we love doTERRA and this opportunity. So what I want to do is, we got a handful of people on. I would love to just literally take maybe 5 minutes for you to unmute yourself, introduce yourself, tell where you're from, and then maybe just in a sentence or two, if you already kind of have worked through it and know why you're doing doTERRA, I would love to just hear why you're doing doTERRA. I know I went a little bit longer at the beginning here, but obviously we have like 20, 30 people on. We don't have time for everybody right now to do 5-10 minutes on why, but if you could just do a real brief introduction of yourself, name, where you're from, if you want to tell us if you have kids, a fun fact about yourself, and then maybe just why you joined doTERRA, whatever you want to tell us. So Faith, why don't you kick us off? I'm going to put you on the spot and let you kick us off there in your lovely cabin.
Thank you. My name is Faith Hill. Hey, guys. Super excited to be with you today. Why I'm doing doTERRA has been a huge journey for me, honestly. But when Nathan and Jenny asked Jonathan and I, she's laughing because she knows. But when Nathan and Jenny asked my husband, Jonathan, and I, who does do this with me as well, at first I said no, but Jonathan felt in his spirit that we were supposed to move forward and do this. And it has definitely been a mental journey for me, for my heart to truly say yes, but my head said yes right away. And I went running for this business in my head. And one of the biggest things I've learned, guys, is when you tap in and do this business from your heart, doors will really begin to open and things will shift in your mind. And we're going to talk a little bit about mindset today, but the Lord has really, really enabled me to settle into this amazing business, totally new business model and structure for me. My husband and I have owned our own businesses before, and but the reason that I feel he really is allowing me to settle into this is so that I can be mom as well as be businesswoman. And so I know a lot of you guys on the phone are resonating with that. So that has been a really unique, amazing journey for me, and it has made doTERRA the right vehicle for us.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yay. Thank you, Faith. Anybody else? Go ahead and kind of right over your screen, you can unmute yourself. Okay, maybe I have to unmute you. Okay, I got it. I got you unmuted.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay, yay. Okay, good morning,
yay.
Everybody. My name's Monica. I go by Mosey, so you can call me Mosey. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4 kids, and I got attracted to doTERRA from Nikki Lynn, from watching her YouTube videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I joined her group on Facebook because I already love essential oils. I've been using them for a long time. I'm an esthetician. And so I just joined her group because I love her and I love essential oils. And then after a couple of months of being in her group, I started to think, oh, maybe I should do this. Maybe this is something for me, because my husband and I have been thinking about, adding another stream of income to our lives and how wonderful that would be. We've got a lot of debt, and I have school loans, and so that's another part of our why. But so I just started going to her group, and then I actually had a dream about joining her group. And so I woke up in the morning, and I went to one of her classes online, and I just said, you know what, this is it. This is it. This is what I want to do. I'm going to join her group, and that's the rest is history. So my why is mostly about, I've got a personal why of wanting to be, financially free and get out of debt, but I also love the products already. I really fell in love with doTERRA after I got my products and started using them and comparing them to things I had used in the past. And I have had a lot of success with the frankincense and getting rid of my migraines, and so I'm in love. So that's
Awesome.
pretty much it.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. Nice to meet you, Mosey.
Nice to meet you, too.
All right, who else wants to share? Tina, you want me to unmute you? I don't know if it's letting you unmute. You want to try? Hover over your screen and unmute? Okay, I might have to do it. Oh, I think you did do it. Okay, there we go. Tina, can you hear me? Okay, maybe it's not working. I thought you unmuted. Yeah, I don't know if it's working. We'll come back in just a second. Is there anybody else that wants to share?
I'll go real quick.
Yeah, you go for it.
Hey, it's Tiffany Moen in Georgia.
Hey,
Mom
Tiffany.
Hey there. Mom of 8 kids, all grown. And my big why is to bring my husband off the road. He has sacrificed his most of our marriage to be in better paying jobs that keep him on the road all the time, to be able to afford all these kids. And I would love to have him, and he would love to experience more of life and be around. So I'm working to replace his income so he could work locally and then eventually work with me full time.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Tiffany. And welcome. Welcome home. Like, are you in Germany right now, or are you?
No,
back?
we're home. We got home last night.
Okay. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. Who else do we have? All right. Tina, you want to try one more time, or is it still not working? It says you're unmuted, so I don't know why it's not letting it.
Jenny, do you hear if I try? This is Danielle. You want me to go?
Yep. Hi, Danielle. Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. Hi, this is Eden,
Hi.
and she's helping me, so we'll try to be fast. So I'm Danielle. I have 2 under 2. Eden's 2, and Finley's almost 6 months. So I work part-time in nonprofits, and my master's is in nonprofit management, and I'm the development director for a local nonprofit. And
okay.
I really want to stay home, and I know that I was called to be at the nonprofit for a specific time. They need a lot of help getting a 501c3, and like there's a transition period I know brought in for. But doTERRA is really, my hope is to replace my income and then pay off my husband's student loan. So
Okay.
Eden's upset because her blanket's in the washing machine. So if you see grumpy faces,
Nice.
that's why.
Okay.
She spilled omega.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Danielle.
Yeah, she spilled the kids' omegas on it this morning, and we have to wash it. So if you see her making angry faces, I'm muted. Not because I'm a bad mom. It's just
Okay.
I'm gonna wash.
That's great. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, Danielle. That's awesome. So Danielle, nonprofit, she wants to stay home, student loans, heard a lot, several loans, and trying to bring people off the road. Those are all really, really great reasons to be doing this. And I know as you get into this, one of the things that we talk about is really finding that why that makes you cry. And sometimes the surface why, the thing that we say, it goes even beyond that. It goes much, much deeper. And I know in the launch guide that you have, if you have an actual hard copy, it looks like this. If not, we're going to go through the digital copy today. So if you have that in front of you, I just want to, first off, we'll kind of circle back to the why here in a second, but I want to jump right in. We're going to go ahead and dive into this next section on right here. So if you have your launch guide, just go ahead and flip open. And just to create a little bit of context of what all this is about, maybe everybody here already knows that this is what we're doing, but for those of you, even people that are going to be logging in later at a later point and watching this as a recording, I know you have some team members that probably couldn't make it to the call today. Those people, we want to make sure that what you understand that this training is all about is launching your business to elite. And this is really key because elite is the most foundational, most structural, basic rank in the company. And if you understand elite and how to get there properly and structure yourself even in elite, you are able to launch other people. And you can see here, this whole thing is about you and then learning to duplicate yourself. So in your launch guide, you probably saw that as well. It's about helping yourself get there and then learning the duplication model of it. And that is really how we create residual income. So if you were able to watch some of the homework videos, if you were able to watch the build guide and some of those videos on there, you saw this illustration that talked about hauling buckets versus building a pipeline. So everything that we do, when we talk about building to elite, we're going to use this analogy called pipes. And pipes, you'll see it's even across that launch guide, it's prepare, invite, present, enroll, support. That's what PIPE stands for. So everything that we do is going to be centered around the PIPES analogy. And it's all with the purpose of getting you to elite. So elite is the basic rank, as I said. We're going to dive into what elite actually is. That was part of your homework if you were able to do some of the elite builder homework as well. But really at the beginning of this whole journey for yourself, you decide when you want to get there. When do you want to achieve elite? Do you want to do it in the next 14 days? We're starting a brand new month. Today is a brand new month. For those of you that are watching this live, for those of you logging in later, it might not be, but for right now, it's a brand new month. So this is an excellent time to decide when do you want to get to elite, or when do you want to help your team members get to elite? Is it 14 days, which is outrageous? Is it 30 days, which is a target? Have that as your target, is elite in 30 days. There's numerous people that do this in 30 days. Many, many people on our team that get to elite in 30 days. Or 90 days, which would be the minimum. If you're kind of more of a part-time, a very, very part-time builder right now, or maybe even a share, 90 days to elite would be probably a practical goal if you're only going to be able to touch your business for maybe 5 hours a week. Some people can only put like a little bit of time in a week. And even 5 hours a week, you could be doing a class a week and a lot of sampling. So you can even maximize that time and make it go a little bit further as well. But the whole point of what we're talking about is how to launch your business to elite. So the steps that you did for homework, if you were able to tackle those, were part of the Okay, sorry about that. I accidentally hit mute on myself. Didn't mean to do that. The first thing right here that I'm going to show you is the first P that you guys tackled was prepare. So we're just going to flip over to this next page. You probably already went through this. You can see the pipes analogy, prepare, invite, present, enroll, support. Part of that preparation is setting up your back office. I'm not going to dive deep into this because you guys already have done this. It will take you about 5-10 minutes to do this. Go set up your back office. Get your personal website ready. That's your own personal shopping portal for people that you share with. I do want to say something about this. There's no magic signups in doTERRA. We're going to dive into enrolling a little bit later, but just because you set up your back office, some people buy a kit, they set up their website, and they think, okay, now people are going to come flooding just because I started this. It doesn't work that way, right? You hopefully have been in long enough to know it does not work that way. This is a relational business. This is not just even online. So, Mosey, you were saying that you came in through online methods, but even in that online method, Nikki does an amazing job of connecting with people, doesn't she? She does an amazing job of making everybody feel like they know her, and that she's relational with it, and that's why she's really successful online. The people that really kind of just hope that it's just going to be all this magic stuff that just happens online and through your personal website, it doesn't really happen that way. So we have to manage our expectations and make sure we understand this is a relationship business. The support and training, there's all kinds of support on sharesuccess.com. I'm just going to go over here for a second to show you. On Share Success, this is our team system. So our team system centers around all of these, and we'll be showing you these today, different elements of these. Faith and I will be walking you through how we use these tools and at what point. But just so you know, it's learn, live, share, build, and launch. Launch is the phase that we're doing post saying, yes, I want to build. I want to build and I want to launch my business. If somebody just wants to share, they want to casually share oils, they want to maybe host a class or two, this is the tool and resource that we would use for them. And if somebody says, I just want to live better, I want to have more health and wellness in my life, this is the tool that we would use to do their health and wellness consultations. And then these are the tools. This is the Natural Solutions Guide. The Learn tab is what we are using for our Natural Solutions classes. So whether you're doing them online or doing them live, this is the tool that you would be using in a one-on-one, and we'll go dive through more of those in a second. Each one of these on sharesuccess.com, maybe you've seen it, maybe you've already seen all this, but just making sure that you know the resources at your fingertips. You can click on each one of these, and there's corresponding videos and tools and trainings around each one of them. So I want you to know that that's there, but one of the things that, yes, Faith, can you hear me?
There you go. It just popped up on your screen, just popped up for us, so just to let you know what you've been showing us on the screen. Yeah, but we got it, though.
Okay. Thank you so much. I don't know why it's delayed. So is my sound okay still, Faith, or is it delayed too?
Yeah, still great. Yep, it's great.
Okay, perfect. All of these tools that you can now see, these are really the 5 tabs of sharesuccess.com that we do a lot of our work around. Now, in addition to that, some of you like paper. I like paper. I'm still a little old school. Faith and I both use a planner, an actual planner, not just all digital. We use sticky notes and we use paper. So we have, for you, hard copies of these. And so you can download and print them. You can order them from sharesuccess.com, or you can order them from another website called oillife.com, OILlife.com. These are your wellness consults, your live guides. This is the share guide that if somebody said they wanted to share oils, they wanted to host a class, I would walk them through this. And this is a build guide if somebody was interested in learning more about the business. I might walk them through this or post having started the business. And then obviously your launch guide. So hopefully you were able to print that out because that's what we're going to be using today. And then our natural solutions guide for our classes, we have the hard copies of those as well. Okay, so let's take our launch guide and we are going to, are you able to see my screen? Can you see the launch guide now, Faith, or no, is it delayed?
Not quite yet. Yeah, it's a little delayed there.
Okay,
you actually
so I'll
may
just
need
tell you which page. We are on, we're going to flip over on, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say you may need to change the view, but, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's there. Nope, it's there. You got it.
There it is. Okay. There. I told you. Fun times at Theo's house with our internet. Okay, so flip over in your guide to page 6. We're going to go ahead and flip the page there. And on page 6, this is what we wanted you to fill out for a little bit of homework with goal setting. Just so you know, to be a presidential diamond, if any of you have that as your goal, you need 54 elites. Okay? So some of you like to go big, and you want to think big and then start working backwards, and I believe in begin with the end in mind. So if you want to have a presidential diamond business one day, all you need is 54 elites. Totally doable, and it is doable. People have done it. Lots of people have done it. So let's start from there and work backwards. And then maybe your goal is, again, this month, to just get to elite yourself. But if you're going to get to elite, you want to start, if you know your end game is presidential diamond, or maybe it's diamond, or maybe it's silver, or maybe it's premier, whatever your end game is, you want to be thinking like a business person to go, I want to take note of what I'm doing along this journey so that I can start passing on the little bit I've done. I want to pass it backwards and pass it backwards and keep being able to bring somebody else along with me. That's how you build a presidential diamond business, is you do it, you learn some of the ropes of how you do it, and you just pass that on at the same time. So hopefully you thought a little bit more about what you want more of, what else you want to create in your life. I heard a little bit of that from you guys. So really dive into that. And as I said a minute ago, find that why that really makes you cry. And the way that you do that is ask yourself, what is it that you want to do more of? So right here in this section, for Tiffany, she wants her to bring her husband off the road so that he can be rewarded for all these years that he has sacrificed to pay for their 8 children. So Tiffany would then say, why is that important to me? Why do I want to bring my husband off the road? And then whatever her answer is, she'd say, well, why? Why that? So you want to ask yourself why 7 times. So for instance, I told you earlier, time is a really big reason for me. I want to give people back time. I would say, well, why? Why is that important for me to give people back time? Well, because I want them to spend it with their family. Well, why? Because I think family is really important, and it's a big value of mine to spend time with family. Well, why is that? Why is family a value? Why is it important for me to spend time with my family? And eventually, if I ask myself why enough, I've done this exercise, so I already know this, the answer I would come to is 11 years ago, we had a son that passed away from SIDS. Our number 3, we have 4 children. Our number 3 passed away. And that changed my life. That marked my journey of the value of a minute, because in 1 minute, my entire life changed. In 1 minute, I would have given anything to have more minutes with my son. And so at that point in our journey, Nathan was working about 60 to 70-hour weeks. He wasn't around a lot. He was gone 5 nights a week. And it was a really difficult season, especially for him to realize that even in that short time we had our son, it was really difficult to realize he hadn't been there a ton. And we decided at that point we've got to do something different. And it took us almost 2 years to really get to that something different, which was entering into network marketing, because we realized we could do it together. We could buy ourselves back time, and the sky was the limit. There's no lid on this. The lid is us. That's the only lid in this business, is us. There's no ceiling telling us you can only make this much. There's no boss saying you can only work this job and this position in the company. The lid and the ceiling is us. And so we realized if we would invest in ourselves and grow ourselves, our business would grow, our income would grow, and therefore we'd have more time with our family. And so that was the why that has driven us for 8 years. That is why we continue to do this. That is why we're crazy enough to walk away from building a 7-year residual income and start completely over with something that we knew was even better, because that why for us was so strong and really driving us. So that's what I want you to do. Maybe you wrote down a little bit of a, yeah, this is why, this is important to me. Or I really love sharing natural things. But I want you to think about when you're connecting with people and you're talking with your friends, are they really going to connect with that, like deeply connect with that? And not that you're walking around telling every single person that you know your why, but your why is what's going to drive you. And it's what gives you passion. It's what keeps you inspired on the days that are really, really hard and everything feels like it's falling apart and nothing's going right. Your own why is what keeps your head in the game. It's what keeps your feet firmly planted on the ground going, I'm not going anywhere. Even though this stinks right now, or this is hard, or I've gotten a lot of no's today, things didn't go the way that I thought, I'm sticking with this because what are my options? And that's what we had to ask ourselves. What are our options? I can go get a full-time job, work 40 hours a week, and make X number of dollars. And those X number of dollars, if I spent that 40 hours doing this, I might even make less on the front end in this type of business model because it takes time to get it into that bigger residual income. And that's the reality that I was very aware of. I might make less on the front end, but in the long term, I'm building something that's residual for myself, and even that can be passed on to my children, and I'm getting, my hours can get less and less and less. I don't know how many businesses or jobs that I could work where I could actually, over time, decrease my work hours and increase my pay. That was the value. That was the trade-off, to say it might be a little slower in the beginning, but in the long run, I can actually decrease the hours I work so that I increase my income, because that's the nature and the flow of this type of business model. So I want you to spend some time and do some homework around that for yourself and figure out what is your why. And I want you to also think about how that's being communicated. Again, you're not going to go up and blast everybody with that. We're going to talk about at the end a little bit of our story, so I'll save that for later. But this is just for now. I want you to put down a little bit of homework. Ask yourself why 7 times. All right, so here on the next page, let's dive into Elite. Hopefully, again, you watched the 5-minute video, 4-minute video on Elite and how to build to Elite. But I'm going to just reiterate this in case, because repetition is the mother of all teachers. I think it's really important for us to just kind of repeat this over and over to get this in our head. So what is Elite? It's the very first leadership rank in doTERRA. There's some other ranks too, but this is really the first leadership rank that we focus around, because if you're going for Elite and you don't hit Elite, but you hit Executive, which is 2,000, that's great. But if you go for Executive and you don't hit it, there's really not a rank underneath that is a qualifying type rank. So that's why we shoot everybody for Elite. Let's go for Elite. Elite is 3,000 points, and this is volume that comes from your entire organization. The Elite plan, you can see if you've got your guide in front of you, you can see right here on the screen. The Elite plan for yourself, if you were to build a business plan, you would say, how do I get to Elite? I need 3 classes. I need 5 enrollments at each of those classes, or 1,000 PV per class. Now that's high. I'm going to tell you 1,000 PV per class for 5 enrollments, that's totally doable. I'm just going to tell you it's high, because if you have 5 people that that would be an average of a 200-point kit. So you've got to know your market. Like if you're going into an area where you already know that financially they struggle a little bit, you might need to manage your expectations. You may not come away with 200 PV kits. Don't believe for less, like believe high. But if you're going into an area that you already know that demographic definitely struggles financially, or it's a really young crowd. Sometimes, like I did a college one the other day, and everybody in that crowd did about two to three oils was all that they could do because they were college kids. And so, again, just kind of know your crowd. But as an average, we say think 500. I think 1,000 is a little high per class, but I would think more like 500 to 800 points per class. To get to elite, you'd need, I would say honestly, you'd probably need more than just 3 classes. You're going to need probably 4 to even 6 classes. And so again, if your goal is I want to do this in 30 days, you need to do 4 to 6 classes. I'm not saying you have to do all those classes. We'll talk about that in a second, but that's the number. Or 15 one-on-ones that each garner 200 PV each. So each one of those one-on-ones, you'd walk away with probably a home essentials kit, which is 225 PV, or maybe you've got a family essentials kit and they've added on a few oils. So again, if you're brand new and you don't know the kits yet, that's a really important thing for you to do is to take this natural solutions guide. I really want to encourage you, take this natural solutions guide and flip to the back where the kits are listed. You can even go online and do it, but just flip to the back side of this where these kits are listed and just learn these kits. And we have oil classes that you can watch of how we talk about the kits at the end. That's the only way I learned it. That's how Faith learned it. She's awesome at classes. She didn't wake up just knowing how to do it, though. She learned what those are. So if you learn what those kits are, you can start using the numbers in your own head. How many PV is on this kit? Like last night, end of the month. We need a certain amount of volume. So we know we've got to sell a certain amount of X number kits, or we could sell one bigger kit and not need 10 people. We could sell one diamond kit because it's 2,000 points. So that's where you start to learn the kits a little bit. And obviously we don't like waiting till the last minute till the end of the month, but it happens sometimes. So elite is 15 one-on-ones or think 3 to 6 classes somewhere in there. So I want you to take some time and write, when do you want to be elite? Maybe you already did that, but write down what you want to do to be elite consistently. So if you find that your volume, maybe you're listening and you've already been in for a little bit, if you find that your volume fluctuates each month, maybe you hit the rank once through maybe a big kit and some other things. There's a couple different ways you can get there, but you find your volume fluctuates. What you need to do is you need to go in your back office and see how many enrollments you actually have and how many people are consistently ordering. And if you're like, why am I not hitting elite every month? I don't understand why I'm not holding it. I hit it that first month. I want to really encourage you to go in your back office and count the amount of people. Look at your little tree and count the people that you have, or look at your genealogy report and count. I did this with a girl the other day that was like, I just don't understand why I'm not holding. I've done all this work. We counted up her people, and she probably had like 8 to 10 people, I think is what it was. And I was like, there's the issue. It's a numbers thing. You just don't have enough. You had enough to hit it because there were some really big kit purchases. But to hold it month after month, the 15 number is pretty accurate. I would say 15 to 20 to manage your expectations, to hit that rank and really hold it month over month over month. And it is important to have that number in your head, because when you bring on people, you don't want to be painting a fantasy to them. So, hey guys, let me just tell you, get started with a diamond kit and find 2 other people and you're an elite and it sticks every single month. How many people is that? 3 people. It's going to be tough to maintain. It totally works to hit a rank, and we do it all the time. We do some we built an elite last night in 3 hours. Like, it was crazy. My husband's amazing. He built an elite last night in 3 hours. And I don't like it when he waits till the last minute like that, but it was like, okay, we're waiting till the last minute. And he's awesome, and he did it. But now we know in our head that's not a real elite. We've got to work really hard this month to now fill in the gaps. Does that make sense, everybody? That's thinking like a business person. You have those times where you got to do those crazy things and you got to do a little crazy push. But then as a business owner, you've got to own your business to go, that's not reality. That's a fantasy business. We got to really fill this thing in with some real people, some real bodies, get some people, some great wellness consultations, and get them on an LRP, the Loyalty Rewards Program. So let's look again here at this Elite Planner. So the way you calculate your needed volume for classes and one-on-ones, you've got to get in front of enough people. Looking at this guide here, you can see the volume needed on this left-hand side. You need 3,000 points. So enrollments needed, we're going to use the average of 200 PV. That's the average for a new enrollment, and that is pretty average. You need 15 of them to do that. So if you want to do that this month, that's your number. That's your golden ticket number is 15. Again, if you get a big diamond kit or if you get some natural solutions kits that are 400 points each, it changes that number a little bit. But don't let your brain go into this gear of like, again, you did it this month, think 15 to 20. If you stay solid on that, you will never drop a lead. The thing with doTERRA is the oils do the heavy lifting for us after we get people started and do our job with wellness consultations because the oils work. And people buy them month after month after month. The average retention is 65 to 70% if you've done your job with getting people started, educating them, helping them learn how to use their oils. So keep that number in your head, 15. The classes and one-on-ones that's needed, you can do that. You can figure out, like, okay, if I've done a few one-on-ones and I've got 1,000 points, I need to divide that last 2,000 by, if an average class is 500, I'm going to say 500 to shoot low. I'd rather always shoot low and get a 1,000-point class and be super surprised than expect high. And I really should have planned for 2 more classes and I didn't put it on the calendar. So if we had 2,000 points left, then I'm going to need to plan 4 classes. All right, so let's talk about our class schedule here. This is really important because with our classes, I want you to understand you don't have to do them all yourself. First off, a couple things on classes are, and I guess we're going to get into this a little bit more in a second. I'm going to wait for that because Faith's going to talk about hosting. I will just mention right now that you don't have to do all 4 of these yourself. You can find a host, and Faith is excellent at this, and she's going to tell us how to do that. You can use a DVD. If you go on sharesuccess.com, you can download the DVD. I personally have not used the DVD yet, but I know that people do them, and it's effective. You can invite people to your house. You can watch a DVD with them and then do a lot of the passing the oils around, give them the same experience. And then our Natural Solutions Guide is what we use through those classes. So use the tools. Schedule your classes out for this month and even think about who do I know that might host for me. And then go ahead and schedule some one-on-ones. Get some appointments with people. We'll talk about in a second how to do that. I don't want to dive into that yet, but we're going to use sampling to get some of those appointments. Last thing on classes at the bottom is enrolling with a kit incentive. Try to first off, because we want to put as much keep as much money in your pocket as possible. We want to use the incentives that doTERRA has for us. Use those incentives. So like this last month, it was enroll a new person with a customer wellness advocate with 100 points. They get 50 points, you get 50 points. So use those incentives. Rather than taking a lot of money out of your pocket and throwing things at people, you don't have to do that. Check today, there's a new incentive. I wasn't up to see what the incentive was yet, but there's something new for this month. There's always something new that doTERRA does. Use that. Or you can do things like some other great ideas for enrolling, or as make your own roller bottle. Put a few drops of an oil in there, fill it with some fractionated coconut oil, and if anybody orders 100 points or more, or set your number, maybe it's 200 points or more, give them a little roller bottle. I like to use the incentive of the Essential Life books. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll grab one in a second, or maybe Faith has one near her desk, I'm not sure. But an Essential Life book it's an incredible resource that we use personally. If you enroll with a Home Essentials Kit or higher, that's a special that we run at all of our classes. And it's super, super effective. People want that book. So Faith's got that lovely book, Vanna White, there. Good job. So it's an incredible resource that some of you may already be very familiar with. But again, maybe your team doesn't know it. So if you have somebody on your team that's going for a lead, why don't you, as their leader, consider giving them, if they will schedule out a certain number of classes this month, maybe you provide the books for them. You say, okay, if you're going to do 4 classes this month, I want to help support you to get there. And maybe you take a little bit of your earnings to help support them with the books that they need for their class. Because obviously every single person at the class isn't going to buy a Home Essentials Kit. But if they did, that's a good investment. If every single person, even if you had to help support them with some of those books early on. So that's a great way to use as an incentive and Another thing is book a class incentive. You can give a little keychain, one of the doTERRA keychains or one from Oil Life, and put 8 little sample vials filled with oils. If somebody books a class with you, that's a great gift. And again, I'm going to let Faith dive into that more when we talk about classes. Or no, right now, go for it. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about hosting now, Faith. Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Sorry,
Can you hear me okay?
Just in case. Yeah, no, I can hear you
okay.
totally fine. I was muted. Sorry. Just want to make sure that I had no background for you guys. Just so you guys know that the promotion this month is a free Immortelle blend if you place a single 200 PV order, which is pretty stinking awesome. Immortelle is about $100 oil. So anyway, just so I looked that up too. I was curious. Hosting is, classes, like Jenni was just saying, they're foundation to our business. This is a relational and connective business, and you can get connective online, but for the most part, this is a eyeball-to-eyeball, knee-to-knee business. And so when we talk about that, classes, just like Jenni said, is super foundational to hitting that first leadership rank called elite. And some people hear, 6 classes in a month, I can't even imagine. Well, just like Jenni said, it's all about, yes, inviting. And Jenni, do you want me to go into sampling right now, or you want me to wait?
Talk about, why don't you go about hosting? Because
just
let me
hosting
just
right
set
now. Okay.
Faith up here. I didn't do a great job setting her up. Faith
That's
has been in something called Diamond Club, which we would love for each one of you to be a part of. You can only do this if you're silver and above. So that's the next one launches in the fall. They do it in the fall and the spring. So it's a way that your upline actually come and support you, and they pay half of your travel expenses, and the company pays half of your travel expenses. You have to meet certain parameters to get those reimbursements each month. Faith has literally kicked her butt for the last 4 months. But she's advanced in rank, and that's the goal of it, is as you join Diamond Club, you will advance in rank. It's hard not to, because you're doing so much income-producing activity on the road. And so because of that, I really wanted Faith to share, because she has just done, an average of probably 10 classes, 20 classes a month. And many of these classes, she has not done them all herself. She's taught them, a lot of them. She's not done them all at her house with her friends only, because eventually the reality is we run out of some network. So Faith is a guru at finding people to host. She actually did a call for us on our Monday night training. If you've missed that, is an excellent resource to go back to. But I wanted her to just touch on this and share with you a little bit of the script she uses and how and why, the thought process behind getting people to host.
Perfect. Yeah. I think a lot of people too, maybe when you're just getting started, and thank you, Jenni, but when you're just getting started, you might think, okay, I could probably think of a couple people that may be willing to host for me. But there are ways that you can never run out of hosts as well as your network, right? And that is the big question that we get for people in this business. Okay, great, I had a couple classes, invited all my friends, but what happens when I run out of my friends? This is where the power of hosting absolutely comes in. So there are 3 ways, or 3 types of people that you can kind of find as your host. And so if you're hosting a class for yourself, there are a couple basic things that you guys need to know, and that's obviously inviting is a big part of it. Jenni does amazing training on how to invite, making sure that you're doing confirmations, setting up an atmosphere. And guys, you don't need to go all out. And I think you need to stress this to your host as well, but you don't need to go all out. You can be as simple as having a diffuser going and a water bar with a couple of oils that people can put water in. It's not that hard. If you want to go a little bit more elaborate and have some appetizers that have oils in them, maybe some peppermint brownies or even a mimosa bar, you can do that, but you don't have to do that. So the importance of getting other people to host for you is sometimes you don't want to overwhelm them with this hosting that they have to do all this food and clean their house and all of these big things. So here's the deal. There are 3 groups of people that are great hosts for you. Obviously, friends and family. This is kind of a really great one, especially if you're just starting the business. But friends and family are a really great host. The second is customers, happy customers. Some of you guys may not have them quite yet. You're new in the business. But as you do grow in this business, I promise you'll have happy customers because this product is amazing. So as you begin to have people that are just product advocates, they love the oils, they are always texting you with a testimony, they would be a prime person to earn maybe some free oils to host a class for you, some of the things that they love. And the next person that you could find to actually be a host for you, you don't even need to know them, believe it or not. You can actually find in your class. I am a big proponent of working smarter and not harder. If you're already there teaching a class, spending about an hour of your time, why not create a way that you can ask the class attendees that are there to host a class for you? So those are 3 types of people. Now, how do you ask them? Let's kind of run through that really quickly because I know that Jenni has a ton more for you guys today. But how do you ask them? Here's the deal. So with friends and family, it can be a little bit more relaxed. It can also be super authentic and real. Your friends and family don't want to be sold, but they do love you and they do want to support you. So there is no shame in my game to go to some of my family, especially if I'm already traveling there. With Diamond Club, I had to travel a little bit. So it was awesome because if I'm already going to be in that area, or we have family vacation next week, guess what? I'm going to be in that area. So guess what? I am calling friends and family that I know, and I'm like, hey, here's the deal. We're already going to be here. I'm also trying not to totally stop my business at the same time. Would you be willing to get about 5 to 8 friends in a room? It's super simple. You don't have to do anything. But would you be willing to get about 5 to 8 friends together and let me present essential oils to them? I have never had anyone say no. Like literally out of my friends and family, I've never had anyone say no. If I was trying to be coy and weird and beat around the bush, it would be different. But I like super cut to the chase. Like, hey, would you be willing to help me out? I don't try to sell them on, hey, you can get free this and free that. They don't. They don't. Would you help me? So friends and family. Of course, you never want to skimp. Let me just back up by saying you never want to skimp your friends and family of the free stuff because more than anyone, they are doing it to help you as well. So you do want to bless them. You do want to make sure that you're like, oh, my gosh, and I will load you down, girl, whatever you want, you know. And so make sure that you are still blessing your friends and family. Don't skimp them. That's a really big thing. So I wanted to make sure I said that. So the second one, your customers, happy customers. How in the world do you ask them? Well, again, if they're texting you and they're super excited, you can absolutely have a little promotion. Maybe it's a really fun clutch travel case. I don't have one. I have one right over there. I'll grab it in just a second. But it's like a little sample travel, super cute purse. Like, hey, I know you love your oils. This could be a way that you can have them on the go. They would love something like that to get together a few friends to share about a product that they're already sharing about. So why not let me do the talking for you because I know you're still learning about oils. And then the third one is class attendees. So Jenni does a phenomenal training on how to teach a class. There's tons of videos of that in Elevate. And here's the deal. On the very last page of your guide when you're teaching the class, there's a little section on there called the share section. That is a perfect time to give your host that is already hosting your class a gift. And in front of everyone. Maybe they didn't even know what they were going to get, and you give it to them in front of everyone, and they see their excitement, and it's really big fun. And then that's when you can say, we would love to partner you. You've already told them about how doTERRA comes alongside and partners with them in their wellness, but also they can partner not only with doTERRA, but with their friends and family that they're already sitting there thinking about. If they're already sitting there going, my aunt would really love this, or my grandmother needs to know about this, or, you know, if that is what they're thinking, then they're natural sharers. And so you want to invite them. You plant the seed there so that when you are going to close and you are at the order form process, it is a very natural question for you to say, and would you like to schedule hosting a class? It is simple. It rolls right off the tongue, and you've got your calendar right there that you could go ahead and book it. So really great ways to just ask some people if they would host for you.
Yeah, that's perfect. Faith, thank you so much. I hope that helps everybody because sometimes when you hear 4 to 6 classes, it's doable. for the first month, but eventually you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do 4 to 6 classes myself every month because I kind of might run out of friends or my neighborhood. Like, I don't know who else to talk to. So this is an awesome way to keep, as she said, make sure you never run out of people. So thank you for sharing that. And I just want to say one last thing before we move on from Elite and this planner and thinking about classes and how we're going to get there is actually 2 last things. Online classes can work, and they definitely can work for those who are a little bit more skilled at doing online, period. So someone like Nikki Lynn, someone like Bonnie, and I'm not just saying those names to like dismiss everybody else who's trying online, because that's not the point. I'm just using those 2 girls as an example on our team because they're really great at doing stuff online. But what everybody forgets and what they don't see is maybe they see one post they put out or one thing that they do, and they think, oh gosh, if I go do the exact same thing and say the exact same thing, I'm going to get the same results. I'm going to get the 50 comments, or I'm going to get all this engagement, or I'm going to have an awesome online class like they did. Maybe. But I'm going to manage your expectations a little bit to say both of them have spent years honing how to do it online and building a following, so that any post that they do has a lot of engagement. It's not just their oil post, it's any post. And so when it comes to doing an online class, that's why someone like that might have more success doing it. I'm not saying that to not say don't. If that's a desire of your heart, you can learn how to do that and learn from the best. Learn from ladies like that who know how to do it so well. But you also can't just have the expectation that I'm going to do the exact same thing and get the exact same results, because they have spent years getting a following of people who trust them, who know them, who just will respond and react to the things that they do and say. So that's something to remember. And when you do the online versus live, you also have to remember you're losing the oil experience. You're taking out the experience of smelling peppermint in your hands, or the wild orange diffuser, or the peppermint brownies, or whatever we do in a class. You're losing that. So I know Faith has actually done some kind of virtual classes where she has mailed out some samples to those people. I know we have another girl on our team, Ashley McDonald, who had people register privately, and they registered for an online class. Then she sent them the specific oils they would need to use as she went through the class online. And that was an excellent way to do it, because then it created a little bit of exclusivity. Only those people who had actually registered, it gave her time to mail out the samples, and it was a much more effective online class because everybody got to experience the oils. Now, if you're just trying to get a big quick shot in the arm and you just want to get some information out, you can do that. But you got to remember with oils, part of what makes them so effective is the experience of them, smelling them, trying them. And so what you create when you just try to get the information out and just do the classes, you create a really big follow-up game. It's a huge, the name of the game with online is follow-up. It's all follow-up. So it's not impossible. You just have to know how you're changing the dynamic of your business a little bit. Does that make sense? If anybody has questions on that, I just want to make sure. So I'm all for trying and doing what you're good at. But if you've never done online, I highly recommend don't try it just right off the bat. If you've never done that and that is not your typical method of operation, do the one-on-one, do the face-to-face. You will have way more success right out of the gate with it. Okay, so let's move on from that. Let's move on to page 8 of prioritizing our names list. And just a real quick thing that I want to talk about here. You probably used the build guide. I don't have the digital format up, but I'm just going to hold up this copy. You probably used the back of the build guide to put 100 names on a list right here. And with that, you probably saw that there's a purple, blue, and a green star. And those stars, the point of that is to help you prioritize them and categorize them. Are those people for you? Are they, right off the bat, do you know maybe a health need? Do you know that somebody that you're putting down on that list, you already know they get migraine headaches, or they have sleep issues or whatever? Put a purple star, circle that for them on your build guide. I have filled up about 2 of these build guides, and I keep this in my planner. I've got like a planner, but then also like a portfolio thing where I take notes and different things. I've got my build guide. I've got a master copy of my launch guide that I have filled out, that I have used this success tracker we'll talk about in a second. So the tools that I'm telling you to use, I have used them myself, and I still use them. So sometimes I think people think, well, as a diamond or a blue diamond, you probably don't do any of the stuff that you tell us to do. No, did a lot of the stuff I'm telling you to do. That's why I am Blue Diamond. So I am telling you to do this because I do it. Every single week, Nathan and I sit down, really more towards the end of the week. We sit down on a Friday and we redo our list. What's our list for next week? And that's an important habit that I've just gotten into is maybe it's going to be Sunday night for you. But before my work week starts, I redo my list every week. And I transfer from my build guide list, my master list of things that when names just come to my head, I transfer from that to my actual planner. My Monday, every Monday, you'll see I have a new list of people listed. So maybe I'm pulling from the previous week of people that I didn't get to contact or that I need to follow up with. But then sometimes new names come. Because how often we built to Diamond and did not even touch all 100 of the people on our list. Because what will happen is you'll put 100 names down. And you start calling through, maybe you're on like 30 or whatever, contacting, and one name on that list can send you an entire different direction. All of a sudden, one name on that list that you thought was going to be a customer, they decide they want to build with you, and now an entire new massive network opens to you. All of a sudden, you just acquired that whole person's list in your business. That's the value of this. So I never even got through my whole list yet because every single person I called, it's like that creates a new list. Does that make sense? Or there's referrals that come from that or other contacts that come. So it's really important as you begin to categorize your list, who would be a great share? Who would be somebody that you would love to do the business with? So let's talk about that. Who is a great business candidate for you? There is a list of 7 qualities of top leaders in doTERRA. You've probably heard this list, but I'm going to run through this and let you write these down. Elise and Patrick Shedevy are our upline, and their business partner is Dan Hillstrom. So they have 3 businesses. So in doTERRA, I don't know if you know, you can build a presidential diamond, and once you've hit presidential diamond and that's set, you can start over from scratch and build a whole nother presidential diamond business or to diamond again. And then once you hit diamond, you don't have to get all the way to presidential to do it, but once you hit diamond, you can start over and do it all over again. So Dan and Elise have 2 full presidential diamond businesses and almost a third. So they're a triple diamond, which means they have built to diamond 3 times, but they have 2 full presidential diamond businesses and a diamond one that they're working on getting to presidential. So they took their business, which is now I think 900,000 people or maybe 1 million. I can't remember what it is. It's 900,000, I believe. Member network that's a part of their businesses, and they did a cross-section and they studied the demographic of who are the most successful people. They looked at all their diamonds and above, all the diamond leaders and above. So if you're not familiar with this, a diamond leader in doTERRA on average makes $17,000 a month. So they took all these people that had gotten to this place of making $17,000 a month and said, what are the top qualities? What are the most common things that we see? And these are the 7 qualities that they found. The first one is that they're female. So men can be just as successful in this, but typically those that were at that rank and higher were female. And that's just an average in this industry, period. 90% of this industry is women. So when you're looking at your list, target women. Go for women first. 35 to 45 is the age, the average age of people that are the most successful. Now, if you're younger than that and if you're older than that, it doesn't mean that you're just messed up, you're not going to be successful. What kind of keeps you in that range is kids. So we have a really dear friend who's 54 and she's got a 4-year-old. So who's her network? She's got a 4-year-old all the way up to 18. So she's with moms all the time. And so that demographic is really just because it's more the age of child bearing and rearing, and moms are making decisions for their kids. So think about people that fit that. And again, on the younger side, knowing the issues that you face when you're a lot younger. So here's the 2 issues of why that's the best age range. On the younger age range of that, you've got kids coming out of college. A lot of times they don't have the resources or the finances, or their friends don't. Maybe you find a college kid who actually really does know where they're going in life and they understand, they're entrepreneurial minded, but a lot of their friends maybe aren't. So their network is a little bit harder and a little tougher to dive into. It's not impossible. We saw a girl at a convention who was 23. She was homeless. She was living out of her car, and she had built to diamond. And so absolutely possible to defy the odds at any stage of this. And then the older range there, it's not that because you're older you can't do it. It's a lot of times maybe they're moving towards retirement and they've already got that set for themselves. They don't feel like starting something over again. But I would also say that's the very reason to talk to people that are even outside of that demographic a little bit, because they are thinking about retirement and maybe what they've done for all these years hasn't been as effective, and they know that that time is shortening for them. So number 3 is likes natural things. Obviously, they've got to like natural things. Number 4 is that they're influential. So some sort of influence. Maybe they're a homeschool mom that everybody listens to what they say. Maybe they are a really charismatic personality, or maybe they're more shy, but they just are influential to some degree. And number 5 is they have a supportive spouse. If they're not married, you can check this one off the list, or really think about a support group that they might have. Number 6 is they have had business experience or have experience building something. So what have they built before? Like Mosey mentioned, Nikki Lynn, she had built an online YouTube following for years. We have a couple bloggers. So don't think just has to be business. Some people have built online, or they've built something from scratch. So those are the most successful people because they understand the ups and downs of building things. They understand that when you start something, it doesn't always go perfect right away. And number 7 is they have a money need. So this is an important one. You might find somebody that's all 6 of these. They're super, super influential, but they make tons of money. Why is a money need important? Well, it's a motivator. It's a driver. If they make tons of money, a lot of times people are not going to stick with it long enough to really do the nitty-gritty hard work of building a business like this. This business is so rewarding, but people have to be patient. They have to be patient to see this get into the residual income side. So those are the things you can read in your own guide. It gives you, under this number 2, who you know, who has. Those are some excellent other things that you can look at on your own. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take your list of 100. I want you to identify 25. This is a little bit of homework for you. Identify 25 of them that you would say, I would love to build with these people. They've got these 7 qualities, or they've got 5 out of 7, or they've got a 6 out of 7. I would just love to do this business with them. Those are the people I want you to put a little star by. And then I want you to put 2 stars by your top 5. Who are those top 5 that you would like to do? And again, this is something that Nathan and I do almost on a weekly basis. We get into this mode where we stop doing it, and then it's like, okay, we got to do this again. We got to redo this list, talk about 25 new people or 5 new people this week. And then I want you to score them. Each person on your list, especially those 25 immediately that come to your mind, put little tally marks beside them. Are they a 6 out of 7? Are they 7 out of 7? Are they a 3 out of 7? If you have somebody on your list that's a 2 out of 7 or 3 out of 7, those probably aren't the people I would focus around contacting first, especially about the business. Okay, and then you're going to transfer those 45, those top 45 that you really want to invite to a class. You want to transfer them to your success tracker. So you can see the page right there. This success tracker is awesome because it lines up with pipes. It lines up with every phase of this business. So if you ever get stuck with somebody, let's say I have Sally on my list. She's number 1. And I am stuck and I don't know what to do with her. I'm like, I don't know what to do today in my business. I go to my success tracker and I look at all the names on my list and I look at where they're at in this pipes process. I look and say, okay, well, Sally's at the invite stage. I need to remind her about Tuesday or Thursday's class. Shoot, I never did that. I've got to follow up with her, and I check that off. Or I'd look and I'd see 5 people on here have never had a presentation, meaning they've never been to a class or a one-on-one with me. Oh, I know what I can do in my business today. I can go sample, which Faith will talk about in a second. I can sample them and then invite them to a one-on-one with me, or I have a class next week that I can invite them to. Maybe somebody has already been presented. They've already come to a class and they already enrolled with the kit and they're right here, and you've not checked anything off number 1 or number 2, which means you've not done their lifestyle overview. So this Live Guide, when you see lifestyle overview, that is what we call a wellness consultation, a health consult, whatever you want to call it. That's this. So it says lifestyle overview at the bottom. It's the Live Guide. We have a video if you go into Elevate and you could type in tips. I think it said tips for wellness consultations. If you type that in the search box, it'll bring up a video of me just giving some tips about how I do this. Faith is also excellent at doing wellness consultations, and we have her down in the month of June, I think, maybe talking about how to end a wellness consultation and help people get on loyalty rewards. So you don't want to miss that training call. We do Monday night training calls every single week. But the whole point of saying that is there's always something you can be doing in your business. There's always people you can be sampling, contacting, inviting, presenting to, sharing with, and doing their wellness consultations. And if you see volume not moving or dropping, oftentimes it's because you've missed one of these steps. Maybe you didn't do. Maybe you enrolled 7 people at your last class and you totally let 3 weeks go by and did not do a single wellness consultation. So now you've got 7 people with oils sitting on their counter and they have no idea what to do with them. I cannot stress enough for you that doTERRA is an education model. This business, essential oils in general, are all about education. So why do we do a class or a workshop? Some people call them workshops. They're not parties. Don't call them parties. They're classes and they're workshops because oils are all about educating. People are interested in learning more. They just don't know what to do with them. Every class I do, people are like, I've been hearing about oils. I just have no idea what to do with them, so I was scared. Somebody in every class is like, I've just been scared to pull the trigger, but I heard you were teaching this, and so I wanted to learn more. So that is what we do. But post them ordering, they need to learn how to use it. And so that's what you're going to do, either over the phone, you're going to do it live with them. And so this success tracker will help you track where each person is at in that journey all the way through to maybe they become a sharer, like Faith mentioned, and a host, or maybe they become a builder. All right, so let's flip over. And let's talk now a little bit about sharing. And there's a couple aspects of sharing. Obviously, sharing, but I want you to understand the steps and stages of this business. So we've given you a lot of the foundational understanding of what you're trying to build and grow. So I'm going to transition here to some of the foundational steps of what do I do on a daily basis? What are some of the business activities that just make my business tick and work? Because what some of you will tend to do and what you find is that it's easier to park it in training mode. And I know some people that are just like, oh, I love this lunch guide and I could just like fill out 15 of these and this is so much fun and I've just been working my business all week and what have you done in your business? Well, I filled out the lunch guide. I thought you did that last week. Well, yeah, but I needed it again. So I know I'm exaggerating here, but this is truly what can happen, Faith, right? Like where people will just tend to want to watch videos and they want to train more, or some people really like to use your time to coach them over and over and over on the same thing, and they're just scared to death to just go implement it. And I'm telling you, the biggest way to learn this business is just do it. It's just do it. You just have to, Faith said it to me last night, it's the Nike slogan, it's just do it. It's the only way you learn is to push through and to do it and to try it. I can't tell you how many times, am I seeing my sexy hot husband? Is he on? Is that him? Hopefully it is. He's a little tiny right now. Oh, yeah, it is. I'm like, hopefully I'm not saying that about some other man. It was so tiny on the screen.
It's me.
Oh, hey, babe.
Hi.
Yay, you're here. Awesome. So I was just going to say that, so both Nathan and I have experienced numerous setbacks, numerous times of we attempted something and it was epic fail. We had a conversation, it didn't go well. And that's the benefit of we're constantly sharpening each other, going, hey, maybe say it this way. Or for the longest time in this business, Nathan's a very charismatic personality. And I came into this business saying, I'll do this as long as you don't make me speak. I'll say yes to this as long as I don't have to talk, okay? I just don't want to present. And you're smiling, Mosey, because you know, like, okay, that's silly. Like, you're going to have to talk. But I just thought, honestly, like, he'll just do all the talking for us. This is perfect. Like, he likes to talk. Let him talk, and I'll just kind of be that behind-the-scenes thing. But I realized very quickly it doesn't work that way. And so early on, and even now, like, I will have a conversation, and I'll say, hey, babe, this is a conversation I need to go have. Can you role play with me? Can you tell me how this sounds? This is what I think I'm going to say. And then he'd tweak it, and we go back and forth. And that is the way that I've learned how to do this. But I wouldn't know how to do it if I didn't just pick up the phone. And then I come back and go, okay, I don't know if that works so well. This is what I said. How does it sound? And he's like, no, maybe change this up next time. And so the whole point of saying that is you only learn by doing. This is a learn as you earn business. Do not park yourself in training mode. Don't sit there where you're just watching videos and doing your launch guide 15 times and going, well, I'm spending 15 hours a week. Well, you are, but you're not doing anything. So we have to just get out and try it. We have to get out and attempt the things that we're teaching you. So on this next section that Faith and I are going to talk you through, and I think Nathan's going to add a little bit here too. I'm going to put him on the spot, is these are the nuts and bolts of the business. This is what we do. We share, so we invite, we share, we present, and we enroll, and then we mentor and train. Okay, so we share with people, we invite them to classes, we present to them through classes or one-on-ones, we enroll them. There's a follow-up piece in there because they don't always enroll right away, or there's a follow-up piece because they enrolled and now we have their wellness consultation, and then we begin to train and educate or mentor. So those are really the 6 things. People all the time are like, what do I have to do in this business? That's it. If you can kind of wrap your head around, those are the 6 things we do over and over and over and over, and we find new people to do them with over and over and over. You'll be golden. So this is, now you have like the rest of your journey to really master these things. So don't feel like you're going to master them right out of the gate. But what I want to do now is I want Faith to just walk us through some steps of effective sampling. Now what you're looking at on the screen is a lot of words. Faith is not going to go through all these words, but she's going to say it in a much better way. I think, are you still on, Faith? I don't see you on here anymore.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Yay. Yep.
Hi. Yes, sampling. So this is also another staple to our business. It's amazing. doTERRA, it's one drop at a time. How in the world, some people say, how in the world do you grow a business? Or where are you finding all these people? Well, a lot of times it's the product that has found them. A lot of times there's so many seeds that are being watered to these people. There is a wave right now of essential oils being talked about. So when you offer a sample, there is a big possibility that it's not the first time that they've actually heard about essential oils. So sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. So it's amazing, because you're going to start to see that people are like, that is such a confirmation. I was just reading blah, 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 or I just heard blah, blah, blah. But you're the one that had that personal touch and that invitation for them to try something. So sampling is really fun because it builds your faith every time you do it. It's about finding things that help people with things that they're struggling with. So there's a couple ways to sample. But there's 2 kind of categories, I think, to sampling. One is random sampling, and the other is intentional sampling. There'll be times in the business where we do a sampling blitz, and we are intentionally sampling. But the random one is what I want to talk about first. Random sampling is maybe not the sampling that you were looking for. This is something that happens extremely random, maybe it's like super naturally. Maybe it's supernaturally, but it's just really natural, right? So it happens because you've heard someone, and we all have, but you've heard someone complain about something. Maybe they're not sleeping, or maybe they have a blemish that they are so embarrassed about, or maybe they are wanting to lose weight, or they're stressed, or they're depressed. Guys, we hear it all the time, whether we're scrolling through our Facebook and they've posted a post that is alluding to their child having an earache, or whatever the case may be, we are always hearing it. If you're in the grocery line and someone's talking about their achy back or their legs, guys, people are talking. Are we listening? That's the big question, right? And if we're listening, do we have the guts to be able to go, oh my gosh, I actually have something that may help you. Would you be open, to trying something that I may have? I have an idea. If you're that casual about it, you're not selling them, and the reality of it is you're not. You really do want to help them. You just complained. I'm sure you weren't telling me just so that you could get hot air out into the universe. You really are hurting. So I have an idea, right? And my idea is, would you want to try this? So that's a really good thing. And the biggest thing that you want to do is say, hey, try this, and listen. You do not want to hang your reputation on this one oil, on this one sample. You just don't. You don't want to hang the reputation of oils in general or yours on this one oil. So you be really relaxed about it, and you just say, listen, I know you're in pain, so try this. Let's see if it works. That would be so awesome if this could help you. And if it doesn't, I have a couple of other ideas for you. So how can I follow up with you and see not only if this works, but if it doesn't, I have some other ideas of some things that may help you. So you've done a couple things by saying that. You've basically left the door wide open that they may not have a good experience. And you know what? You're not moved by that. It's okay. You didn't just destroy your entire business. As a matter of fact, you've now invited yourself along on a journey of their wellness. And if you can be the one to help them find a remedy, oh my gosh, they are going to want to hold your hand and go with you wherever it is that you're going. And who knows what that could do. And you may have just met them at the grocery store. So it's pretty amazing that when you're just loving on people and something like that supernaturally happens, you can absolutely take advantage of that. So you've also done something in the way that you've said that is you've gotten some contact information on how to follow up with them, but you've also told them, I'm going to follow up with you. And that really is a key with sampling. You don't just want to sample them and then not follow up. And another thing with your follow-up is you really need to be clear when you follow up, and I'll talk about that in just a second. So, my screen just kind of pooped on me. Hang on one sec. Can you still hear me or see me? Okay,
yeah, I can.
Okay,
You're good.
Sorry, guys. Okay, good. Sorry, guys. Okay.
No poop here.
Sorry, nope. Sorry. Okay. So the next way that you're going to sample is you're intentionally sampling. So sometimes Nathan and Jenni, we do a lot of fun things, especially around December, because everybody's used to getting gifts. And so we'll just like really create some awesome buzz and momentum in all of our businesses by doing what's called a sampling blitz. Nathan is extremely, he's the best at getting everybody really excited about sampling blitzes. Just him saying the word blitz gets him really excited. So we all get excited, and it's a lot of fun. So you'll know what I'm saying here. Yeah,
it's a football thing.
Around.
It's just a football thing, really.
It's the way he says it. It's the way he says it. And his eyes get really big, and his hands go like this, and it's a blitz, and it's really fun. So it's true.
Hey, you should see him with the kids. The eyes get really big with the kids, too, and they're like, oh, no, is this excited, Daddy, or
they're
not?
like, Dad's got a crazy look in his eye. Okay, anyway, blitzing or any type of intentional sampling. Maybe you're working with your upline, and you guys are really developing a strategy of how you need to get a little bit more bodies or in front of some more people. Sampling is an amazing way to do that. And so when you're intentionally sampling, maybe this is how some of you guys like to do it online or whatever, but there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can stay specific with your sampling, maybe by ailment. So you're on the prowl and you're looking for people that have stress or sleep issues or depression, and you have your set of oils that you want to create a sample, and you're looking for people that are struggling with that particular thing. That's absolutely one way to sample. Another way to sample is basically saying, do you have any health priorities? Who out of my friends, or maybe you're private messaging them, you've got a list of people, and you say, look, I know we've talked in the past, or I've heard in the past that you've struggled a little bit, you've shared some things with me. What's your current state? Do you have about 3 health challenges that you want to kind of address or work on? And I really like the wording too, health priorities. That's a really good way of putting it. But a lot of times, some people are going to be very, very open with you. And when you ask them to give you some options, you've given yourself a little bit of wiggle room, because you want to make sure that you sample something that's going to get an immediate result. In other words, if they're like, I have Lyme disease or I have infertility, it's going to be, yes, the oils can work for that, but how long is that going to take for them to see a result? So what you're looking for is something like a head tension or a backache or a muscle ache or sleep issues. That's going to take 24 hours. You're going to know if that oil worked for them or not, right? So something that you can see an immediate result. Maybe their child is sick or an ear infection, or the list goes on. So you want to make sure it's something you're going to get a result. And basically, you can even text them, hey, I know you've been struggling with this in the past. I have found that blank really works wonders, and I wanted to know if you wanted to try it. Or I found that blank has really changed our family, and I would love to put it in your hands and see if it could help you too. Let me know, or let me know when I can send it to you. Nathan and Jenni are really great about how to word things that actually are an assumption or an assumed close. And maybe in this case, the close is getting that sample in their hands, because we know the power of these oils. But also make sure, guys, that you leave that door open to say, hey, if this doesn't work, I've got a couple really good ideas for you, some other ideas. Just to be honest, this is actually one of the most least expensive oils. When you're sampling, you want to sample maybe the least expensive oil that can work for that particular element. And why? Well, that shows them right there that you're not trying to sell them a ton of money. You're really, gosh, what if you could help them not only find something that works for them that they've been struggling with, but it's the least expensive option. That's a win for them, and it's certainly a win in terms of them trusting you and wanting you to come alongside of them and maybe welcome you to more parts of their health story. So when you're doing that, make sure that you've told them, say, hey, let me know what's going to be the best way that I can connect with you and follow up. I really want to see how this works for you. When you're following up with them, I want you to be very specific, not very vague. Hey, how was the oil? Or how'd the oil work for you? Oh, my gosh, they can divert that like nobody's business, okay? So it's very specific questions. Hey, did you get a chance to try that oil? I'm really curious of how your blanket's doing. How's your child doing? How was your sleep? How did you sleep last night? Or maybe that's the one, how did you sleep last night? Were you able to try the oil? So you're asking them very specific questions that they really are going to have a hard time vaguely answering you or going around you. And if you are not getting a response from them, you still want to follow up, because in your mind you're thinking, oh my God, they hate me and the oil didn't work for them. But I promise, if you have prefaced it already with, hey, this may not work, but if it does, that's awesome. And if not, I've got some other great ideas. You're going to alleviate some of that, which is really great. But also, if you're following up and you're not hearing back from them, Jenni's really great about reminding the whole team all the time, like the reality of it is they probably have a leak in their bathroom, their children are crying, like their life could have like totally blown up and they didn't really care about the oil in that moment that you text them. So it's important to us, and it is important to them, but we have to give them grace until it becomes really, really part of their life. So yeah, that is a little bit about sampling. You can go random, and guys, that is the beauty of this business. You can literally be on vacation and swimming in the pool. Somebody's going to talk about an ailment, and you are not selling. That is the beauty of this business, is that you literally are loving them exactly where they are, and hey, you have an idea of what they just said. Maybe something can help. So really fun part.
Excellent. Yes, thank you, Faith. So just to add one little thing to that, that's so good, and I love how she describes that. Every time she does, I like take another page of notes because she says it differently every time. So I'm like, oh, that was good too. So I wanted to make sure, so that initial, to get the sample in their hand, texting's great. Like, hey, I thought of something. I wrote down like her little script of what she even said. I thought of something. I heard you're struggling with this. But the follow-up is now a phone call. Yeah. So let me explain how you get that phone call and just make sure you understand it. So I texted them to get the sample in their hand. I either mail it or I go deliver it. Let's just use the example of I'm delivering the sample. And again, we have an entire call on this. That Becky Ferrant, who's a diamond on our team, she and I also did a call on sampling. So make sure you check the Elevate archives for Monday night training calls, and this gets a little bit more detailed with exact scripts even. But if I had texted somebody, they say, yes, I would love to try peppermint for my headache. Great, I'm going to drop it off today. When I go drop it off at their house or wherever we meet up, I'm going to say, this is what you do with it. And I want you to try this for like a day or two. Do you get headaches frequently? Let's say they get them frequently. If they have one right then, I'm just going to have them open their hands and breathe it in and rub it on their temples. And I'm going to wait a second and see what happens, because that's how quickly it can work. I'm not going to promise it. Like Faith said, I love that she said don't hang your name on an oil and that it's going to work right now instantly just because it did for somebody else. But if it's a chronic thing and they probably have it for a couple of days, I'm going to say, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to try this for the next 2 days. Today's Tuesday, so Thursday, are you cool? Are you around in the morning like 9:30, or is afternoon better, maybe around 2:30? Find a time right then. You've dropped off the sample. Do not leave their presence without having that time. So then I say, okay, that's perfect. I make it real casual. Are you around? Because I would love to just check in on you and see how this has worked for the last 2 days for your head. So then I'm going to pull out my phone. I'm going to put it in at 9:30 because they said 9:30 works. The last thing I'm going to leave them with is I can't wait to connect with you at 9:30 on Thursday. I reiterate it again and say it again. Now, this principle I'm teaching you holds true for any conversation you have. It's sampling. It's any part of this business. If you're talking to a prospect that wanted to learn more about the oils or they wanted to learn about the business, you never get off that call or that face-to-face connection without a set time to follow up. every now and then I can't get one, but almost every time I get a set follow-up time. If you don't, what happens? If you say this, hey, I'll call you in a couple days. You will. You're going to do your part and call them in a couple days. But then when you call them, like Faye said, the sink is leaking, the baby's crying, the car just got wrecked, and they're like, oh, I can't talk right now. So obviously if their world's falling apart at 9:30 on Thursday, they're probably not going to, they're going to say, hey, I'm sorry, something came up. But because you set that time with them, that you'll be able to then say, so how does tomorrow morning at blank time work? Because you already set that precedence that that's how you do things. And you're positioning yourself a wee bit more professionally than maybe every other network marketer that's ever talked to them about a product, because you're setting yourself up as a professional. This is a business, and I value my time, and I have contact times, and I have work hours. That's how I do this thing. So it's very much more effective to do the phone call, and don't text to say, hey, how did the oil go? And I know Faye said to make that call. I just want to reiterate that. Make that phone call of, let's talk about how this oil went and how did it work for your sleep. And that way, then, you can actually verbally hear what they say so that you can offer another one. If they've tried lavender for sleep and they're like, yeah, it didn't work that well. You know what? I've got this other one called Serenity. Can I tell you a little bit about it? That's a tough text conversation. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible. There are some people on our team that run their entire business through text messages, and it works for them. But I think it works for them because that's how they run their life.
That's how they
already have texting relationships with all of their friends, and so their friends are just used to it. But I will just say, predominantly pick up the phone. And this is one place where so many people, Faith would agree, so many people will say, I'm doing everything you've told me to do. This is where they're missing it. They're not getting a follow-up time on the first contact, and they're not calling. They're hiding behind text messages or emails.
True.
So cannot stress that enough.
I want to add two things to that too, Jenni. That was absolutely exactly. One other really good tip for you guys, Jenni was saying about learning the kits. I know that some of you guys are new. In some of our introductory kits, those are what's called the top 10 oils. If you can find a sample that is within that top 10 list, it's a really great transition of value to them when they are turning into a customer when that point happens. And also, we want to use sampling because a lot of people are like, how in the world do I continue to get people to classes? Well, we talked about hosting and having other people to do that as part of it, but sampling is that other part of it. Listen, this is how you actually get a room full of qualified buyers in your classes, because you've literally pulled from people that not only you've sampled, they've had a really, really great experience. So you've got a room full of advocates in the room that when you go to teach your class and you have that window when we teach classes of sharing testimonies, you have a room full of advocates that are literally going to sell the oils for you. You can stop talking, and each and every one of them can tell about their positive sampling experience, which leads to a little tip that we always say is if they have not had a positive experience yet, continue to work with them until they do, until you found that oil that does work for them, and we already have talked about that a good bit. But if it does, the next step is to invite them to a class. You don't need to jump right into purchasing a kit, but you bring them to a class so that they can learn more about these oils that clearly already worked for them. So following up is really key. Jenni just said, yes, following up, do it on the phone, but the next steps are either a class or a new oil that is going to be a better or a different oil for them for the same needs.
That's good. And if you've already done a bunch of samples and you didn't do it, quote, unquote, right, like you got 40 samples out and you just did it, you didn't get a follow-up time, it's not dead in the water. You just have to work a little bit harder now to really get in touch with those people and guard your mindset. Don't let your brain go to those places like Faith said of like, oh, my gosh, they hate me, like they're not getting back to me. Just know kids are graduating, kids are getting out of school, summer, or whenever. I don't know when you're going to watch this video because it is being recorded, but there's always something. There's always something in people's lives, so just stick with it. They say, the statistic is you have to follow up with someone 7 times before they say yes. And that's not always the case, but if you're getting a fast yes with some people, it's because somebody else has already done some of the pre-work for you. So they skipped some of those steps for you. Like they already heard about oils. They've already had a positive experience or something. So as Faith said, sharing and sampling, that's our first step. Then that leads right into our next step. This is the basics of the business that we're giving you. We have about 30 minutes left that we're going to go through a couple of things with you of the basic activities of the business. What do I do on a daily basis? I sample, and then that leads to an invite. Or I sample, and it leads me to another sample if that sample didn't work or whatever. So every week I'm constantly running the post office. I'm taking samples continually. So let me show you real fast on that. I actually have in my office right here in my bookshelf. I've just saved a small little doTERRA box, and inside of it is a plethora of all those little things that all my oils come in, and I just save them because that's what I send my samples in. So I just get those little yellow folders, and I send out samples. I've got those in here too. So just a little tiny yellow one or maybe a size up. And one thing that I'll send if I'm sending it long distance is an A to Z guide. And I'll take a little sticky thing and I'll stick it on the page. Like if it's headaches, I'll stick a little tab, Post-it tab on the page, and I'll send it with the oils. And I might send, if they had 3 issues, I might send 2 or 3 samples because I'm mailing it. If I'm taking the time, effort, and money to go to the post office and mail something, I might send them 3 samples. I might even send, like, if it was for sleep, I might send lavender and serenity. But I would instruct them to start with lavender, use it for 2 days, and then we're going to switch to serenity to see which one they like best. Why would I do lavender? Because as Faith said, it's one of the oils in the top 10 kit. Serenity's not. It is in the Natural Solutions kit, though, so if I have them try both and they like both, I'm going to upsell them on that Natural Solutions kit because it's in there. So I might, if they've got their favorite product, you'd be surprised how many people will buy a bigger kit. Of course, they can just add an oil on. But how many people have we gotten to buy a bigger kit because there are one oils in the bigger kit that they want? You know, they will. So these A to Z guides, one little tip for you on this too is some people give one with every sample they do. That can get expensive. There's 10, I think, in a pack for maybe like $10. Sometimes they're on sale for $8. It can get expensive to sample that way. So I have done that for some bigger prospects or somebody that I really want to even consider the business with me. But one thing that I have done more recently is when I sample, I snap a picture of the inside of the A to Z guide. So I don't have one open in front of me. I think this is an old one, but you'll get the picture. So I would snap a picture of the inside of this on my phone, and I would text it to them right then. And what I'm doing strategically is I'm positioning the picture where they can see enough of this page and even the other page where they look, maybe their issues, headaches, but all around headaches, it's going to say head lice and hypertension and all these other H things that they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea oils work for head lice. That's crazy. You know, so it's starting to subtly plant the idea that oils work for everything. We have the phrase that we have an oil for that. And they start to learn that just through that subtle little thing. So if you don't have the resources, again, at the beginning of your business to just hand one of those A to Z guides out to everybody, snap a picture. And especially if you're only sampling them for headaches, but they told you 2 other health priorities, snap those pictures too. Text them all 3 issues, even though you only sampled them 1, so that they go, oh gosh, I want to get something else for those other 2 things as well. So that's just a strategic way. And then if you ever do sampling online, and you put something on Facebook, and we've done sampling where we said, list your top 3 health priorities, and we'll send you a free sample. I will go back into the thread and actually post the picture underneath somebody's health priority. So even though I'm going to mail it to them, I'm going to also put it online because then all their friends and my friends are seeing, oh my gosh, I had no idea oils work for this. So that's just another strategic little tip that you can do online if you're doing it. Just to get the message out a little bit more, because a picture's worth 1,000 words, and it's not you saying it. It's not you saying, hey, it works for this. It's something in a little book, and it just seems to have a little bit more clout with people. Okay, so sampling leads right into inviting. As Faith mentioned, we're not going to talk a ton about inviting. We do have, like I mentioned, keep saying this, we have a ton of archived calls that really dive deep into this, but we're going to go over to page 11 of inviting. The invite is super, super simple. Over here on this page, if you're still walking through your launch guide, it's literally something super simple after they've had that positive experience of, I'm so excited that the oils are working for your head. You know what? This Thursday I have a class where I'm going to be teaching a little bit more about essential oils, what they are, how to use them, and we're going to be trying a bunch of them. I know you just tried peppermint for your headache, but What I would love to do is I'd love for you to come and try several others, because I know you mentioned you had a couple other things going on as well. You know what works for your head. Why don't you come try a few more and see what you think and learn a little bit more about them? That's a simple invite. But I'll tell you something strategically that I just did on my invite. I wrapped my invitation around something that I want to teach you really fast called their sign. Maybe you've heard this before, but a sign, S-I-G-N, is their strength, interest, goal, or need. So everybody's got one. Think about it like a flashing neon sign on their forehead screaming, I have a need, or I have some strengths that need to be utilized. I've got interest, or I've got some goals. We've heard a lot of goals today, like wanting to bring a husband home, wanting to pay off student loans. Whatever those goals are, you have them. You have a sign, which is why you said yes to this. Somebody else has a sign too. So some signs are more health-related, like this example I just gave you. So when I did my invite, I just wrapped my invitation around that person's sign. Hey, I know it works for your headache, but I know you also mentioned these other two things. I'd love for you to come learn a little bit more about how you can help with the diabetes and how you can help with the weight gain. I would love for you to see some practical solutions, and I'll show you how essential oils can help you with that. It's 6:30. Can I put you down for coming or whatever? So wrap your invite around their sign. So one thing that's going to do is it's going to make your conversation about who? Them. It's all about them. The conversation's about them. No longer, did I say anything about doTERRA, the company, the compensation plan? Did I go on and on about the safety of oils and the history and the co-impact sourcing and all these things that I'm passionate about and excited about? Did I even say a word about that to get them to come to a class or to even give a sample? When Faith was talking about sampling, did she even say a single word about doTERRA and really go into anything about it? She didn't. The entire time she was talking about sampling, and the entire time I was mentioning inviting, it's all about their need. It's all about them. And I'll tell you, if you will get this, this is something that is a skill that can be learned. Because what you probably don't realize about yourself is how often when you're nervous, our natural tendency is to revert to just rambling about our product or our opportunity. Because we think that information is going to sell them and make them say yes. But there's a saying that I learned from a business mentor years ago that she said, information tells, but stories sell. And the story is what in this instance, it's that person's story. That's what sells them, their need, their story. Information just tells. And what most people come away when they're really informed and we flood them with information, they say this phrase, that's really interesting. I need to think about it. That's the worst thing you can hear in this business, because that means, oh gosh, now it's going to be a game of cat and mouse. I'm going to have to chase them to get them to say yes to this. You don't want to hear that. If you hear that, it means you probably just like put a ton of information and now they have to think about it. But if you just share stories, hey, this totally works for my head and this is what happened, I think it could work for yours, information sells them, or stories sell them. So it's not the info. So I want to make sure in your inviting process, you're already learning how to find their sign. You find somebody's sign by asking questions. We call it forming, F-O-R-M, and it's asking questions around their family, their occupation, recreation type questions, and then message. So family could be, how's your family going? How is your family's health? How are the kids? How's school? You know, there's lots of family questions. Occupation, how's your job? How's your boss? Are you enjoying it? In 5 years, where do you see yourself? All kinds of great questions around occupation. Recreation could be, what are you guys doing this summer? What are you doing for Christmas? Are you guys traveling? Do you have any, do you have plans for family coming in town? You'll hear things like, no, we're not. How come? We just don't have the finances right now to travel. We're going to do staycations all summer. And that's where you can go, they have a need. Well, so if I am going to talk to this person about the business, I'm not going to say, oh, did you know that doTERRA could help you with that? Well, no, they didn't. They don't care about doTERRA right now. What they care about is the fact that they have to stay home all summer because they have no money. So I might say something more like, I've done that. I've been in that phase of life. I try to build a bridge. I've totally done the staycation thing, and it's hard. Sometimes it can be fun, but, it's hard if you really want to travel. It sounds like you really love to travel. Is that something you'd want to do? I ask another question. Yeah, I really wish I could travel. Well, where would you go? Oh, my gosh, I'd totally go to Paris or go out west or whatever. get them excited about it. Ask enough questions to find out more about their sign. And then I would just say something, well, you know, I don't know if this is a fit for you or not, but I have something that could be a potential way for you to be able to travel more. Can I tell you a little bit about what I'm doing? And if it's something you want to explore a little bit more to see if it's a fit for you, to help you earn a little bit of extra income on the side to be able to travel more, or you know what, our company even has free trips. We have one to the Dominican Republic coming up. It's pretty awesome. I can show you and see if it's a fit for you. So one of my favorite phrases when I'm inviting, whether I'm inviting to a class, I focus obviously more around the health needs, but if I'm inviting to the business, we go back now to our names list that we prioritized back on, you know, page 8. And some of those people that we wrote down in our success tracker are people that we're thinking about the business for. Those type people are, I'm going to say things like, if I already know their sign, you know you mentioned, or, hey, you just said, that's kind of my transition line into building a bridge from what they just said to now what I want to say. So if they're talking away and I just blurt out something about doTERRA, immediately what they think is, did she just hear me at all? Was she listening? So you don't want to do that. Build a bridge. Build this tiny bridge with, you know, you just mentioned this. And then one of my other favorite phrases you heard me say is, you know, I don't know if this is a fit for you or not. That's a disclaimer statement that allows that person to say no. It gives them permission to say no to me. And I am absolutely okay if you say no to me. And the reason I'm okay if you say no to me is because I don't want to waste your time, and I certainly don't want to waste my time. I value my time far too much. And you need to value your time too. It's worth money, so value it. So I might say something like, you know, I don't know if this is for you or not, but based off what you're sharing with me, I think it might be worth your time to explore. That's a really great way to just lead into it, because I even said, based off what you're sharing with me, this could be a good thing for you to explore. So I've kind of got that intrigue up. Now we're positioning ourselves way different than people like, oh my gosh, you should totally look into doTERRA. It's got this incredible opportunity and you can earn income, you can do this. First off, drop the word opportunity. Don't say it. It's a buzzword that has become very tainted in the network marketing industry. Somebody says, hey, I have an opportunity I'd like for you to look into. Somebody Facebooks you a message about their new business they started, and they use the word opportunity, and they say, click here on my link. What do? Delete, and you move on. You don't even watch it. You don't even read it, or whatever they've written to you, because you're like, ugh, that feels slimy, it feels yuck. So what we want to help you do is totally be different. We want you to stand out among your friends, where people are like, oh my gosh, Tina is amazing. Like every time she talks to me, she makes me feel like she really cares about what's going on. And guess what? She does. She's learned to really care. And one of the things that I had to overcome, this was a big one I had to overcome and had to learn, because I liked people. I didn't love people. And I'm just being really honest. Like I was way more shy, way more introverted. And you probably are going, what, you're introverted? Yeah, I was. I hated speaking. I hated communicating. And I had to learn, because being more introverted, connecting with people takes energy. For me, I get my energy from reading a book, talking away, being alone. Nathan gets his energy from being in the middle of a party. And I'm like, I want to go in a corner and like suck my thumb. Like that does not energize me. But I've had to face you. Is that where you get your energy from? I have had to really train myself to go, okay, I love people. And the way that I've learned to do that is just connecting through forming, finding their sign. And what I have found is like, oh my gosh, people are fascinating. That is one of the things that keeps me engaged in this business constantly. Is every person's different. Every story's different. Every strength, interest, goal, and need is different. And I get to go treasure hunting every day to find out what those signs are, and then find out if this business can be an opportunity for them, to find out if these oils can be something that can help them with their needs or their goals or the interests that they have in their life. So that's a little bit on inviting, about how to properly invite. It's to try to wrap any invite, whether it's to the class or to the business, wrap it around their strength, interest, goal, and need, and you will have far more success. Now, I'm giving you the crash course in that. You're going to need to practice it. It's a skill. Don't make it complicated. Don't make it too hard. Just think, ask questions, and listen. We say ask questions, duct tape, and listen. Nathan and I have said that for years, is put your duct tape on and listen, because one of the things that we tend to do is when somebody answers a question, we pounce on them. We're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna pounce on them. Like, they're perfect for this. They're so good. And then we just like flood them with doTERRA information. Again, don't do that. Give them a chance to say, would you be interested in hearing more? One last thing on this. So if you were to invite them to a class, they're going to come to your class Thursday. If we're inviting them to hear more about the business, I want you to think about that invitation like a dating relationship, okay? I want you to think about that, that invitation for you. So Faith, Jonathan, when he met you, hopefully this is not how he did it, did he go straight for marriage the first time he met you?
Oh, my gosh. You should not have asked me that, Jenny. He literally said on our second.
I just had this feeling. I was like, I have this feeling. No, but the very first time he met you.
He said, the very first time, no. On our second date, he said, if we got married, you'd be Faith Hill. So, I mean, he did say that. But no.
That's true.
I told him to back on up, son. But no, he did not jump in and say, hey, honey, let's get married. No.
That's awesome. Good. Woo. Okay, so my illustration stands true that most of us, whatever, if you're married or you meet your spouse, they did not say, let's get married the very first time they saw you. You had entered into a dating relationship, a friendship. And I want you to think about your business that way, because sometimes we put undue pressure on ourselves that we have to like break the ice with this conversation. We have to date them and we have to marry them all in one conversation, all in one 20-minute phone call. I'm just letting you know, take that pack off. You do not have to do that. It is a dating relationship that you get to, and I'll tell you, Nathan is excellent at this. This is why people years later have come back and said, I want to do this business with you, because he just dates. He continues to love people, and it's genuine. The part of this that you have to be careful of is we don't want to manipulate people. We never want to manipulate people. We are in a business, and a business that requires bodies and people and relationships. So you have to deal with that in your own head. As long as your heart is not manipulative, it's genuine. And Nathan is excellent at keeping those relationships alive over the years and having touch points with people and connection points that are very, very genuine. So that is a really important part of this invitation process. Okay, so we've gotten sampling, we've done inviting, and now we are on to presenting. We've got a couple minutes left. I'm not going to talk through the whole presentation because, as Faith mentioned, we have a video in Facebook, a couple different videos that you can actually watch of how to do a class. And you will be able to watch from start to finish a live class. We have a version that I've done. We have a version that Elise Shedevy, our upline, has done. Dan Hillstrom has done one. I know Faith has her own team group that if you're on Faith's team, you can watch her doing one. I'm sure if you're on Bonnie's team, she's got a version that you probably heard her do it, and Becky's got one. So we've got a lot of leaders on our team that have incredible class videos that you can learn from. And my recommendation to you is to spend an hour or two, because it's training. If you're about to launch into doing a class or 2 or 4 or 6 or whatever your goal is, again, if you're kind of like, you know what, I want to get there in 90 days, you probably want to do a class a month. But if you want to get there this month, you need to do, like I said, 4 to 6 classes and find people to host for you. But what you're going to do is you're going to take this Natural Solutions Guide. You can download it. You can print it. It's better to buy a pack of them. They come in a pack of 20 like this, like a 6-pack, and in between the middle section is all the applications for people to fill out at the end of the class. Whenever I get mine, I go ahead and put the application on the inside and the back page. This is the application. It's in here. I slide it in so that in the class at the end, I'm not having to do an awkward handout of applications, like it's already there, and I just reference it. I say, okay, everybody pull the application out. But with this class guide, what I want you to do for your homework is I want you to go watch one of the classes and use this as your master copy. Take notes. But what I want you to take notes on, because we have a whole script. It's underneath the file section of Elevate. What I really want you to be listening for and taking notes on is transitions. The transition statements of how did Jenny or Faith or Becky or Bonnie or Tina or whoever's doing the class, how did they transition from, at the beginning they were telling their story, they went from that into the history section. What did I hear them say? That's what I want you to write down. Because that's where most people get stuck, is transitioning. They get done with their story and they're like, okay, so the history of oils are, and you're like, oh, that was so awkward. In my first class, was so awkward because I didn't have that transition down yet. So it took me a little bit, took me a few classes to actually go, okay, this is what I'm going to say. This is how I'm going to transition. And you'll grow and tweak it in time. The beauty of the class, so that you don't have to be afraid, is let this document do the talking. If you're brand new and you're like me, where you're like, oh gosh, I'm terrified to do the talking, and use the oils. Use lots of oils. And I love what Faith said in this middle section, where you'll see this on a live video. This middle section where we talk about doTERRA solutions that can match their health priorities, that's where if you've sampled a bunch of people, that is where they will now do the sharing. They will do the talking, and you'll say, has anybody had an experience in here with these? And that's when you get to take a break, and you're like, whew, compose myself for a second, kind of gear up for the end of this, get your thoughts, especially if it's your first class or two. But if you will just do what I said, is take this homework, take this challenge of how did they transition from history now into the 3 cool things about oil. How did they transition from the fact that it's natural into the fact that it's effective? And then when they flip the page, what's the first thing they said when they flip the page? You'll notice in my transitioning, a lot of what I do is I buy myself time to think by repeating the last thing. I summarize it. And that's just the skill of a good teacher anyways, is making sure people can take home and remember what you said. So anytime I turn a page and I start something new, you'd hear me say, so what we just worked on or what we just learned was the 3 cool things about oils. And what we're going to do now is, so as a good just presenter, you just kind of tell them what you just did and then where you're heading. Now we're going to learn 3 ways to use the oil. And then down here, now what we're going to do is I want to take 2 minutes and I want you to write down your top 3 health priorities. Those are the easiest transitions. So just tell them what you're going to do. So I want you to do that. Use one of these natural solutions guide, mark it up. My guide, my first one, I wish I had it here to show you. It is literally teeny tiny print all over. And I was trying really hard to get all the facts and everything memorized. But to be honest, after my first class, I canned it and I wrote down transitions. Because if I can get the transitions, I knew enough and could look at this paper even and just literally read what was on this guide. If that's all I said in each section and then gave them an oil to try, it would have been perfect. So I canned my first master copy because I wanted to say everything so perfect, and all I did was transition statements. Once I got that down, the class was like, okay, at any time, any day, if somebody calls me now, I can do a class. But it took me a while, to practice it. So I want to just take some of that pack off for you. And then the last thing I'll say about classes, because we're not going to go through everything about classes, I want to talk about closing. So closing is another thing, and another way to say it is enrolling. Enrolling, sponsoring, closing. Those are all 3 the same thing. But we'll talk about it in a class setting, but this holds true for you even on a phone call or a one-on-one if you went to Panera. And let me say that too. This class guide is the exact same thing I would do if I did a one-on-one. When I go do a one-on-one, I do not go and wing it and just talk to them about oils. I take my top 10 oils plus Serenity and Balance. I always have my 10 oils in Serenity and Balance and Wild Orange because I want to upsell them on some other oils and then they're in other kits. So if I go to Panera, I take those and I take maybe my Lifelong Vitality Pack. I might have that in a backpack to show them because that's one of our best-selling products on LRP. And I do this class guide. I've done this at Starbucks, I've done it at Panera, and I've done it at juice bars or places. And the reason I do that is because I want that person to know this is duplicatable. If they walk away from that experience with me and they go, wow, that was amazing, I learned so much from her, I could never do that. How does she memorize all that? How does she do that? I just shot myself in the foot for a potential business partner. But if I walk in there and say, hey, you know what, I brought this cool little guide because this is something you can take home with you, and it's just really easy to follow along with. You might want to make some notes. And I take a 45-minute class, and I try to do it in 20. And in a one-on-one setting, because there's conversations, I just cut out a bunch of stuff, and I make it shorter. But this is why I use that guide consistently so that people that are sitting there that are prospects for a product, they're also prospects for what? The business, right? Yeah, and if they have an amazing experience with the oils, which they will, they're going to now be somebody that thinks back on that experience and goes, wow, that was really easy, and that was actually kind of fun. I think I could see myself doing this. That's what we want them doing. That's what we want them thinking. Okay, so closing really fast is very important to Faith and I have both seen this. Nathan has seen this, where somebody will do such a great job. They do the class. They've done the hard work of sampling and inviting. Please, please, please do not do yourself a disservice of all of that pre-work to leave it hanging and not actually give people an opportunity to get started. I've seen people put enrollment forms on like a little ledge by the door and like let people walk out the door if they want to get started, maybe kind of sort of. They can grab one and take it as they go and fill it out and get it back to me if you want to, you know, kind of sort of if you want. That kind of thing. Like if you have that attitude, literally the person in the room that wanted to get started goes, oh, maybe I'm weird because I was ready to pull out my credit card and get started. So now you kill the sale. You kill it completely at the end of the class or at the end of the Panera conversation or on a phone call, because you can do the exact same thing I just showed you by downloading a digital guide and walking them through a digital class over a phone, and I've done that too. So at the end, regardless of your setting, phone call, one-on-one, or class, close it. And the way you close it is something so simple. Again, listen to our class so you'll learn. Even in Panera, I never, ever skip this section. I've had people say, are you serious? You show them enrollment kits in like a one-on-one? Absolutely. And what I say is, okay, so we've talked about some really cool stuff. Now what I want to do is I want to show you how you can get the oils in your hands. In a one-on-one setting, that's an easy way to say it. I want to show you how you can get these amazing oils in your home or in your hands or how you can get started. Any one of those three ways to phrase it is an easy way to transition. Then you just say, I want to tell you the three ways to get started, okay? Then you're going to go into, now let me tell you a little about these kits and why they're so special and what's really cool about them. Again, I'm not going to go through all this because this is on a video that you can watch, but I just want you to hear me say, it's important to say those three things. Let me show you how you get started. Let me tell you the three ways that you can get started. You know, retail, wholesale, or LRP, how you can purchase your oils. And then let me tell you a little bit about the kits and some of the savings and some of the cool things, because doTERRA puts things into a kit form because they studied what people purchase, and this is the best way to get oils and to maximize your money. So don't leave it hanging. And then at the very end of that conversation, that's when you call it this handy little enrollment form, and you say, to get started, it's super simple. You just figure out which kit you want, and I'll spend the next few minutes helping you figure that out. So based off whatever your health priorities are, let's work for the next few minutes together and figure out the kit that's right for you. So Faith mentioned earlier something Nathan and I do all the time. It's called an assumptive close. What I just did was an assumptive close. I said, so let's work together to find the kit that's best for you. I did not say, do you want to get started today? Do you think you want to purchase anything? That's a yes-no question. Don't ever set yourself up with a yes-no answer, you know, to receive a yes-no answer. Always something assumptive. Let's find the kit that's the best for you, because then they have to say, actually, I don't want to order anything. They have to actually verbalize that to you. And rarely does that happen. You might get a, well, this is what I want, but I really need to talk to my husband. Or if they say, I want to talk to my husband, I say, okay, that's perfect. I totally do the same thing. If you're going to talk to your husband, which one are you looking at? Keep going. Don't just be like, oh my gosh, he's got to talk to him. Okay, I'm done. Done. Meeting over. Like, great, talk to your husband, but talk to me about which kit you're going to mention to him. Which one are you really looking at? Once you find the kits that they're looking at, ask them why, find some more questions, and say, great, so if you talk to him, do you think you have, goes back to our follow-up thing. Remember, I'm not going to leave this meeting without a time to follow up if they don't get started right then. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, that's awesome. I know you need to run this by your husband. You spend more than $200. You guys have to agree on it. Totally get it. So what about tomorrow? Are you going to have some time to talk to him tonight? Does that work for you? Because I've got some time tomorrow morning around 9:30 or tomorrow afternoon around 2:30. Is morning or afternoon better for you? Notice I didn't say, does either of those work? That's yes, no. I say, is morning or afternoon better for you? I'm making them choose. It's a polarizing question. They've got to pick one or the other. So before you leave that follow-up, get an exact time that you're going to be talking to them. And then say, awesome, connect with your husband, run this by him. And sometimes I know, this is what I'll say with spouse, things like that. Sometimes when we talk to our husbands, the information doesn't come out the same way that you heard it, and they don't hear it the same. And so if you need, my husband can hop on the phone with him, or I'm happy to get on the phone. If he needs me to answer any questions for him, if he feels a little bit more comfortable, please know that I'm happy to hop on the phone. Always offer that. And I'm going to sign Nathan up to say you can always offer Nathan. Nathan's amazing on the phone with other guys. So you have access to an amazing dude who will get on the phone and talk to other dudes and be able to walk them through this crazy oil thing that a lot of guys think is like snake oil. So he is awesome at doing that. So please know you have that as a resource. So that is our presentation piece. So we've talked about sampling. We talked about inviting, presenting, and then once they get started, we would help them do a wellness consult, a lifestyle overview. We've already mentioned that, and we've already talked about where you can get the video, the tips of how to do that. One thing that I know Faith does really well too is she works really hard to get that appointment right away, like to get that wellness consult figured out right away, because I know you've had the same experience too, Faith, where if you don't get an appointment right away, sometimes it can go a week or 2 or 3, and you're going, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm failing this person because I don't know if they're using their oils or not. They're probably still just sitting there. So it's important the same way we do all the rest of our follow-up. If that person gets their kit at a class or whatever, I might go ahead and say, you're going to have your oils in 3 to 5 days. Let's pull out our calendar really fast. Do you have some time next Friday? Let's go ahead and just schedule a time to walk through your oils, do a health consultation so you know exactly what to do with what you're purchasing, and that gives that person such peace of mind. They walk away going, oh, I just invested a lot of money in this oil and these kits, and this person she's going to help me next week. This is amazing. It's a free value add that you're giving to them. Do not incentivize them to sign up for a wellness consultation. I've heard people that have literally been throwing essential life books at people and other things to get people just to sign up for a wellness consultation. What you're telling somebody when you do that is, I do not value my time. My time's not worth money. So Faith, in her other life and still in this life, she was a nutrition coach. Her hour is worth like $400 an hour, easy. I mean, her time is valuable. So when they're purchasing a kit and they get her for free, you better believe she knows that her time's worth money. So she positions herself like, okay, this is a really big deal. Like, I'm going to help you get started with this. And because she has that internal confidence, people walk away going, oh my gosh, I get Faith Hill. Like, I get time with her. This is amazing that she's going to help me. And they value that time. They show up and they're ready and they're prepared. And I want to make sure that each one of you value that.
That was the biggest hang-up for me in the beginning when you guys, or not even you, but Elise was training us to do these. And I'm like, whoa, for free? Whoa, wait, what? But it's true, the value of and I love them now. So I'm excited to do a training on those.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it is. If that's a part of your professional life where you're used to getting paid tons and tons for that. And obviously what we do in our wellness consults is not what Faith does in her with hers. We're really helping equip them with the products and show them what to do. We're using the Essential Life book. So what she does is far more detailed with helping people with digestive health issues and gut health and, specific nutrition plans, that kind of thing. So please know when we say a health consult or wellness consultation, we are not telling you to be that nutrition guru. We are telling you, just like you use this natural solution as your guide and duplicatable system for classes, we are stressing to you, stay on task with this. Do not come in like, I am the oil queen, I am the guru, and I'm going to tell you everything about everything. Stick to the plan. Use this as a guide. Help them get started with what they bought. And the whole goal of this is to get them on a loyalty rewards order, a 30, 60, 90-day plan. I tell them consultation. Our goal today is to equip you to know what to do with what you have, to educate you a little bit more about doTERRA and the oils and the different products we have, and to set you up with a plan, a 90-day wellness plan. Those are the 3 things that I say are the goal: equipping, educating, and I'm going to set them up with a 90-day wellness plan. And they're like, really? I'm going to get a 90-day plan? Yep, we're going to totally walk through it together. And guess what I'm doing? I'm setting up their LRP. So now I have a 90-day wellness plan for somebody on loyalty rewards. Again, you can go into our training on that online on Facebook as well, on tips on how to do a wellness consult. So we're going to wrap this up. I know we're just a few minutes over here, but a couple last things here. We've talked about closing and enrolling. We've talked about wellness consult post. And then think let's just do a really brief conversation really quickly on placements on page 17. Really quickly, identify the role of the new person that you're bringing on. You need to identify that quickly, and you actually get 14 days to move people, so you don't have to know right away where you want to put them, but in doTERRA, when you enroll somebody, you have 14 days to place them where you'd like them. And the way you decide where you want them is, one, what they're telling you, is their role customer, share, builder, but then also what they're doing and showing you. So if I have somebody that says they're a builder and they want to build and they don't ever get back to me, 14 days go by, I've not heard from them, nothing, and unless we've set up prior, we know something's going on in their life and they've gotten started but they can't launch right away, that's a totally different scenario because there's been communication on the front end. But if they're like, I'm all in and I'm doing this and we're going to start tomorrow, and then I don't ever hear from them, then that person in my mind might be more of like a share or customer. So it's probably going to change where I put them. So this the biggest point of all of this is have communication and conversation about where they see themselves getting started. And you'll notice a lot of our material, all of it centers around helping put people in this customer category, this share path, or this builder path. Even the tools. You can see right here on the left-hand side of this page, on page 16, we've talked about this lifestyle overview. This is that customer path. They're self-selecting, I just want to be a user. Maybe they're a sharer, and they have self-selected at the end of a class, like Faith talked about, finding a host at the end of your class. Maybe they say, I want to host, I could do that. And so this is the tool you'd use, and then building, that's the other path. So one thing to be really clear about sharers and builders, a lot of people, you will get several people that will say, oh, yes, I'm totally in, I totally want to build. Some of those people, what they really mean is they really want to share. They don't really want to go find a team. They don't want to coach and train a team. And they don't want to consistently do everything that I just talked to you about of how to build to elite. And if you do everything we've just talked about today and build yourself to elite, you've probably got a $300 to $500 business, which is awesome. I mean, if you do the math times 12, you've just increased your income about $6,000 annual income for the year. That's incredible if you're talking about debt reduction or paying off a car or paying for kids' school or whatever. You've literally just maybe paid for your kids' private school. So that may be the end game for you. That may be the goal. And if that's the goal, that's great. But you need to make sure you're clarifying with people on the front end, because if somebody is just wanting to get to elite, they're probably more in that sharing category. They're probably not looking to bring on a lot of builders and team members that are then they're teaching and training to do the same thing. So this is where identifying the role. I want you to spend some time reading through this guide yourself so that you know what a customer, share, and builder looks like. A share, I like to say, somebody that wants to share, there's a very casual share, like Faith talked about, kind of random sampling versus intentional. Or there's that more intentional share that says, no, I really do want to get my products paid for every month. I'd like to at least earn enough every month to have free oil. And the way that they do that is probably one class a month. So help that person by having that conversation and saying, so can I share with you what a share looks like? And you tell me where you line up. I just had this conversation on a phone call the other day. This is what a share looks like. You're saying you want to build, but everything she was telling me she wanted to share. I want to build, I want to build, I want to build. I'm so busy. I'm in school full time. I've got 3 kids. I probably can only put about 5 hours into this. I'm like, okay, you're probably more realistically a share, it sounds like. Can I tell you the difference? And once we categorized her and helped her find her role, I could literally physically feel her on the other end of the phone like, okay. Like she just felt so much better, knowing exactly where she lined up and what it looked like, what the expectations would be. So once you identify that builder, then you identify your role. Are you going to be their enroller and sponsor? Or are you just going to be the enroller and you're going to sponsor them somewhere else? So really quickly on these terms, I'm not going to get into a bunch of compensation plan right now because we have a video you can watch on the compensation plan. And if you want that, please make sure you let us know where that's, that you want that information. But enroller, think about if you want to write down something next to it, write personal enroller. Personal is like I brought them to the table. I'm the one who had the conversations. They're my contact. I'm going to keep enrollership. Think about family and genealogy. Think about like your family tree. These are the people that are my cousins and my brothers. They're connected to me like my family line. That's an enroller. What enrollership impacts is your rank. So if I want to go beyond elite and I want to get to, let's say, premier, I have to have 2 personally enrolled executive legs. Executive legs have 2,000 points each. If I want to go to silver, I have to have 3 personally enrolled elite legs. So what we're teaching you to do, if you want to be a silver, you need to have 3 elites underneath you that are personally enrolled by you. Not somebody that's maybe been placed there or somebody else's contact that they're putting there. It has to be enrolled by you. So think your family tree. It impacts rank. Enrollership also impacts a bonus we have called Fast Start bonuses. Fast Start bonuses are paid out for the first 60 days. It's 20% if you're the enroller. Again, I'm not going to break down all the other compensation plans around Fast Start bonuses, but you can just write down and make a note that that's what enrollership impacts. Now, sponsor. Let's go over to sponsor. Think sponsor as level. Like, which level is that person sitting at in my organization? Are they on my first level, my second, all the way down to my 7th? Where am I putting that person, or my 9th or 10th? You don't want to put anybody on your 9th or 10th. Don't do that. But where are they sitting in my organization? Which level are they on? Sponsorship impacts a bonus called your unilevel bonus. This is the long-term brunt of your paycheck. At the beginning, your unilevel bonus is nothing because everybody's in Fast Starts. They're in your first 60 days. But over time, all those Fast Starts switch over to unilevel commission, and where they sit in your organization depends on how much unilevel you get. So if they're on your first level, it's 2%, second level, 3%, 5%, 6%. It changes as they go deeper into your organization. So sponsorship that's what that dictates. And here's the other thing sponsorship helps with. We don't want you enrolling and sponsoring 20 people on your front line. We didn't talk about that structuring, but this is that conversation. We want to make sure you understand doTERRA is a structured business. We want to get you structured properly from the start. So as an elite, if you're coming in and you're having some classes, it's very important that you meet with your upline leader to structure your business properly. Maximum, you will have 3 people on your front line to start with. And those 3 people, I want you to write down, think builders, shares, and customers. So like CC would be on your front line. Those are your builders. Those are the people that are actively committed and capable. Those are the people that are really wanting to build a business and build a team. So committed, capable people on your front line. On your second line, you've got committed or capable. Or really, I like to think committed and capable. Keep them there. Maybe they just don't want to go as fast. So think about it more like a pace thing on the second level as well. Maybe they're committed and very capable of building this, but they told you, I really literally only have like 10 to 15 hours a week. I tend to put more of my full-time people on my front level. That's where I keep that's who I enroll there. So I'm going to keep let's say I've got 3 committed, capable people on my front level, and I bring on somebody who's also committed, capable, but they tell me, you know what, I'm probably going to build a little bit slower. Here's my goals. I don't maybe have huge goals, but this is what I want with this business. Great. We're going to support you exactly where you're at. We're going to take that person and maybe put them on our second level, but Nathan and I would keep enrollership of that person because that's part of our family tree. But we're going to sponsor them now on our second level. But the sponsor is actually going to be, let's say, Faith. Let's say I bring in Sally and Faith on my front line. I enrolled and sponsored Faith, which means if I'm her sponsor, she's sitting on my first level. But if I say I want Sally actually to be on my second level under Faith, I'm going to keep enrollership of Sally, but I'm going to give sponsorship to Faith so that she's sitting underneath Faith. Remember, it's levels. It's where she sits. Her volume helps Faith possibly qualify, but it wouldn't help Faith rank advance because Faith doesn't have enrollership of Sally. I do. So I can give up enrollership to Faith, and we could have that. We'll have a very deep dive into placements. So we're going to do an in-depth training on placements at another time. But just so you know, when you get started, one of the reasons we really stress having numerous classes in your first month and even suggest doing them back-to-back. Like a lot of people like to launch, we didn't talk about this in the class series, but a lot of people like to do their classes where they do 3 or 4 in a 1 week window versus 1 a week. We've done the 1 week and it works, but because you only have 14 days to move somebody, what we do is we could do like a Thursday night class, Friday morning class, Friday night class, maybe even Saturday morning. You've cleaned the house once, you've made your peppermint brownies, just double the batch, you've got your whole house set up, you're ready to go. and you've got a massive influx of people all coming in at the same time, that you have better chances if you had 5 to 8 at each class and you did 3 classes. You're going to have 15 to 20 people to choose from. Who do I think is going to share or build? And that's how I'm going to start structuring my people under. Then lastly, we put our customers on our 3rd level. And the reason we do that is because we want to start setting ourselves up and building ourselves out for a Power of 3 bonus. Power of 3 bonus is that's on the 3rd level. Once you have 27 people there with an LRP of 100 minimum, then you can get a $1,500 bonus. So again, I'm not going to get into all the compensation. I just want you to see how structuring connects to our compensation plan and how when we do classes and we enroll, structuring is important. And if you have a direct sponsor or upline who's either inactive, who you can't get a hold of, or who's brand new in the business with you, look up in your back office, go underneath who your upline is. Please don't wait, don't delay. Call somebody that will help you. We are all more than willing to hop on the phone and have a placements conversation with you and walk you through exactly what to do and where to put people. You can give us your whole list and we'll say, here's how we could suggest structuring it. So that's something that we as your upline and support are here available to help you do. So last thing here on that last page, and then Faith's going to actually close us out with a little bit on mindset, is just mentoring. So I skipped a lot on placements. Again, we're going to do an in-depth training on this, but mentoring, just the only thing I'll say about this is actually exactly what I just said. You need a mentor, first off, to help you understand where to place people. They might just be an inch ahead of you in this business, and that's okay. Like, you can glean from them even the inch ahead that they are. Or you guys can sharpen each other together, but there's probably a mentor even above them that could work with you both if you kind of started at the same time. But let's just say your mentor has been in a little bit longer, they've got a little bit more under their belt than you in this business. You would set up a weekly time with them. If you're somebody that really wants to build, you want to invest 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 hours a week into your doTERRA business to really get it to where you want it to be, you're going to have a mentoring session then weekly with your leader. It's very important you talk to your upline leader and tell them what you want from this. Because if you I'll play the scenario both ways. If you're like, I really want to build, and your leaders set a time for you every single week. Remember, their time's valuable. Face time, we know it's really valuable. So if you have set that time weekly for that person and you don't show up, or you start going, oh no, I don't want to get on that call, I feel like I'm going to the principal's office, please know that call is not coming to the principal's office. This is a time for you to say, hey, I'm stuck. This is where I need help. This is a time for you to also bring ideas. One thing that we always encourage people with on our mentoring calls is not to get on those calls and expect your upline leader to have all the solutions and to be the magician that can wave their magic wand and just fix your business. There's going to be things every week that you come with that maybe it's a skilling up thing, and it's a process. It takes time. You've got to learn and grow a little bit more. But be on that call on time. Come prepared with the things that you want to talk about, and treat this as an indispensable tool, this check-in. It's a check-in time weekly, and we like to do ours on Mondays. We do all of our mentoring calls Mondays because we can start the week off strong, maybe Tuesdays, but then we have the rest of the week to go to town. And that mentoring call, like if Faith and I are doing a mentoring call, I get off the call with a bunch of notes knowing exactly what I need to do to support Faith for the week and what she needs from me. I know which calls she might need me to do or what she needs me to get to her. And then we've had maybe some coaching time, and then she's filling me in on where things are at. But she comes with solutions and strategies too. So don't expect your upline leader to just do all the thinking for you. This is your business. You're in business for yourself but not by yourself. I've seen where some people can take this to the extreme and feel frustrated, like my mentor's not fixing everything for me. We want to stress for you that that time is invaluable, and you will be sharpened, and you will grow, and you will be trained, but you also have to own your business. There are 1,000 tools out there that you can be learning from. Don't expect your 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour, whatever you guys set up ahead of time. Don't expect that to be the end all in your business. You have got to train yourself and personally develop and grow yourself as well. And then on being a mentor, don't feel like you have to have it all. You don't have to learn it all. Just do what your mentor does with you. Just turn around and do that with somebody else. Okay, so Faith, I want you to kind of close us out here with a little bit of mindset stuff. And thank you guys for hanging in. I know we've gone a little bit over, but I think we've covered a lot, and it's been really, really helpful with some of these basics with the building. Faith, I can't hear you. I think maybe you're still muted.
I am so sorry. I was typing away, and I didn't want you guys to hear that earlier. So, yes, I agree. And the coaching calls, again, guys, your mentors are here with you, but this is for you. This is your business. And I think that's what really one of the funnest parts is. It feels like coaching in the beginning because we know we're maybe a little step ahead of you, but this is the whole goal and the intent is for you to literally partner with us and you to step into your own business. So really, really fun. But I think that really leads into exactly what Jenni just said about those calls. It's about how you're coming up and showing up because of where your mindset is and what is your mindset. And guys, mindset is the key literally to your business. I told you guys that in the beginning I had a lot of mindset issues. And so the fact that Jenni asked me to speak on this, it's kind of my way of taking some territory back, right, of the challenges that I had and speaking from that authority because that was exactly one of my biggest setbacks was my mindset. So as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Your behavior is dictated by what is going on in your heart and your belief system of around either what you're doing or why you're doing it. And so, mindset is what enables you to persevere. Maybe if things, when things do not go as planned, because I don't care what business you have, whether it's a direct sales or network marketing business or a, typical own your own business or even in your daily job. Things do not go well, and so or go as planned. Sorry, didn't go great, but things don't always go as planned, and so you do have to have the ability to be able to shift. And what is going to anchor you in that? Your mindset dictates how you speak. Like we said, as a man thinks, there goes your behavior as he is in his heart. So what you're speaking directly affects what you're attracting in and around and to your business. So your mindset really is the key to all of that. So how in the world do you know, or what is your mindset, or how do you know how to reset it? So here's the thing. There's 4 tips that I really want to crank through here. You guys have been amazing. But the first thing is knowing your why. Jenni talked about that in the beginning of this call, and the reason for that is because your why that makes you cry is your anchor. It is literally what you are going to hold on to when things begin to shift in terms of circumstances or things that come up. So the second thing is recognizing your value. She laughed about me knowing my value of my hour, but I have to grow into that even as well. That's been a journey. But how do you recognize your value? I have a saying that I love to say, and I say, only you can do you the way you do. And that's the truth. Only you can, because you do have a unique talent. And you matter. You matter. We need to unlabel ourselves a lot of times. This is not about putting labels on us that we are ABC. Sometimes it's taking off the negative sheets that we put on. I'm not good enough. I don't want to be a salesperson, or really the reality of that salespeople are X, Y, and Z, and I refuse to be that. Those types of things are going to hold you back in your business when it comes to as simple as having a direct question for them at the end of a class. So this is the deal. You can't be anything that you want to be. The reality of it is I will never be an Olympic athlete, okay? That is the reality of things. But I can be everything that I'm designed and created to be. That is really, really huge. But this does not negate that I need to grow in my skill sets, that I need to grow in things that I need to learn. There are certain things that we can learn. The reality of it is we are transformed by the renewing of our mind. And how do we do that? That's point number 3 is personal development. Personal development and growth is key to your mindset. It's literally how you grow. How many stories? I actually have one in my life right now where this guy wanted to give me this theological debate on a book that he read, and literally came back months later and he goes, oh my gosh, I read that book again, and I don't even see the things that I was seeing before. And what I'm reading it going, what was I arguing about? There was been a renewing of his mind because of what has happened between the two times that he read the book. He has grown so much. And so the fourth thing is anchoring yourself. How do you keep your mindset? Anchor yourself in a bigger why. Jenni and I, literally, we do not rest in our own strength. We know that we are tapped into the Lord, and we love the Lord. So we're saying you need to anchor yourself in a very much a larger why, because that is going to be a bigger power than yourself. And the reality of that is it's going to shift you, and this is going to sound not so politically correct here in this era that we have, but this is going to shift you from positive thinking to hope. Positive thinking can be extremely exhausting in the face of circumstances. Why? Because positive thinking really, if you look at it, can be exhausting because it can be rooted in denial. It can be rooted in denial of the reality of your circumstances, and that robs you from growth. But hope is life breathing and giving in the midst of circumstances. It allows you to face the pain of the circumstances that you have in front of you, and it gives you the invitation to grow in how you're going to react and respond to those circumstances. So you have to anchor yourself in hope and not just positive thinking that you spin every little circumstance to the positive part. There is something good about that, but the reality of it is that sometimes it can really be rooted in denial. So here's the deal, guys. Hope is the driving force of life, which brings us to that very first point. What are you attracting in your business? Your mindset literally is key to your business. So you guys have been amazing hanging in there with us for this training. Mindset really is key when you're doing all of your teaching and all of those things. It has to flow through from this place of freedom and not need. So you guys are awesome, and we're excited to celebrate your journeys with you for sure.
That's good stuff, Faith. Thank you so much. That was amazing. So just to recap and close this out, 3 basic steps to grow. Everything that we talked about in this launch training, we want you to keep it simple. So here's your simple just kind of takeaway is the 3 basic steps are share the oils, sample classes one-on-ones, enroll customers and builders. So watch some videos on closing if you need some help. And then lastly is launch new builders. So 3 things that we do over and over and over. I know I told you there's 6. There's tasks involved in this, but I want to even simplify it even more. Share oils, enroll customers and builders, and then launch new builders. That is how you grow that diamond, blue diamond, presidential diamond business, or that silver business that you desire. Again, maybe your desire is elite, but if you want to go past elite, you have to have a team members working with you. And so launching builders and enrolling customers and builders is going to be what helps you do that. So congratulations on launching your business. Thank you guys for sticking with us and being a part of this. This was awesome. It was so great to see your faces, and we're just excited. We're here to support you. So I want to ask, are there any questions or anything that you guys need based off all of that, or are we good? Give me thumbs up. You have to unmute yourself if you want to say anything. So, or if you just want to wave and say goodbye. Okay. Okay, I think I got you.
My question is, I'm not part of your guys' Facebook group. How do I become part of that to look at your files and whatnot that you talked about?
Oh, okay, yeah. So Elevate, yeah. So either you can request membership. Tell me your last name.
Akeletidis.
Okay, tell me how to spell it.
It's S as in Sam, Akelleri, D as in David, IS as in Sam.
Okay. And then if for some reason it doesn't let me just add you, then just request to be a part of Elevate. And it's ELEV and then the number 8. So just Elevate on Facebook. So absolutely, that's a great question. So anybody can be a part of that because it all kind of branches from there. Some of you may be a part of other team pages. So wherever you come in your journey, you've got maybe a different diamond leader or a different leader that's kind of added you to a different team page. And that's great. You can be a part of both. You can glean from any and all leaders on this team that are available to you. You have access to all of us. So
okay,
awesome.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. It was so great to spend this time with you. We'll talk soon.